Okay, everyone, I think we can get started now. I think we've got a quorum. So let me welcome you to the April 2026 meeting of NPUF. Today is April 15th. I'm Debbie Skipczynski, the NPUF chair. Taking minutes tonight is our secretary, Catherine King. In addition to Catherine, we're going to be joined by several officers, including Katie DeWeese, who is our zoning chair and APAB representative, Rich Sussman, who is chair of Parks, Trees, and Environment, Marla Johnson, communications chair. And I think those are all of the officers that I saw. Marla Johnson and Kay Stevenson will be acting as co-hosts tonight, letting folks in from the waiting room, and they are authorized to use the mute button. You'll note that we are missing a vice chair. If you're interested, please let me know. My contact information is at the top of the agenda. If you like knowing about what's happening in the city, this is an ideal volunteer gig. I'll train and you can attend some interesting and maybe not so interesting meetings hosted by the city and others. And we are also joined tonight by our assigned planner, Doug Young from the Department of City Planning, who is present here tonight. NPUF has two agendas, the full agenda, which is the one with the phone numbers at the top. We also use a consent agenda, which includes applications which historically the NPU has approved with no discussion. These applications will be bundled together to be approved with a single vote. Please note, with the exception of one deferral, I have not included the Class E events on the consent agenda this evening. This is to give us an opportunity to ask questions of the event organizers before making a recommendation. If you are here for any application, please check the full agenda to find it. Both agendas are now in the chat. All residents of NPUF may vote on any issue unless there is a financial interest in the application or motion. For example, residents or business owners may not vote on their own applications but can vote on others. You may vote if you have met the requirements as described in our bylaws, and these voting rules are at the bottom of the full agenda. But note that we are using the honor system for voting tonight, so please refrain from voting if you do not live in, own property, or a business in NPUF. If there's more than one person using the same device to access Zoom, please include both names on the participant list so that we can get an accurate attendance report. We'll put a little 2 in front of those names so that we can count both votes. To change or add a name, click on the word "more" to the right of your name to find an option to rename. Also, if someone else's name is showing up in your window, then please correct it. If there are duplicate names, neither one's vote will count. NPUF does use Robert's Rules of Order as our parliamentary guide. For the most routine matters, I'll ask if there are any objections or for unanimous consent. When a motion is requested, I'll recognize the first 2 people who speak up to move or second the motion. This is the only exception to my raise your hand rule. I know that most people have used Zoom, but for those who are using it for the first time or need a refresher, here's some things to know. The mute button, which looks like a little microphone, can usually be found at the bottom left of most screens. Please stay muted unless you are called on. If you wish to speak, please use the raise your hand icon, which is found under the reaction tab. Also at the bottom, and which you should also be able to find at the bottom of the screen. And in some devices, it might be under the word "more" to get to the reaction tab to get to the raise your hand icon. Be sure to click on the correct icon. Sometimes folks will hit the thumbs up and that disappears after 10 seconds. Speakers will be called on in the order the hands are raised. Also, be sure your camera is on so that we can see who is speaking. When it comes time to vote, we'll be sure everyone can find the raise your hand icon. If you're using a cell phone or landline and want to raise your hand, then click on *9 to mute or unmute. Just push *6. Your hand will show up on my screen. Now, so that we can get through our voting items, please follow our meeting protocol. Keep all questions and comments germane to the topic being addressed and respectful of everyone in the meeting. To allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'm going to ask that you only speak once on a topic unless you are asked for clarification or a question on previous remarks. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes or less unless otherwise instructed. If you have a random thought, please make a note in the chat and someone will either respond or work it into this discussion if it's appropriate. Please do not annoy me by speaking before you are called on. At the end of the meeting, I will ask if there's anything else to come before the NPU tonight. That's the appropriate time to speak up on items not on the agenda for discussion. The chat is where you can send messages to everyone or to an individual. If I see the comments have become inappropriate, are rude, or mean-spirited, I will turn off the chat for the remainder of the meeting. As a reminder, you can save the chat by clicking on the 3 dots in the chat window. If you can't save it, let us know in the chat window and we'll get it to you. Snarky or sarcastic comments are not helpful and not appreciated. Please keep the snark to yourself. NPU F is a snark-free zone, and I will try to do the same. If I'm moving too quickly or skip an application, please call me out. Sometimes I get on a roll and forget important steps. Sorry. So that we can all hear and we can get a good recording, it's important that only one person speak at a time. If we are picking up background noise or if you interrupt or hog the floor, you will be muted. We are approaching another campaign season. There's a reminder that any form of campaigning is prohibited by ordinance at NPUF meetings or any NPU meeting. If you do so, you will be muted or asked to leave the meeting. Finally, the NPU system gives us the opportunity and responsibility to share our opinions with the city leadership and elected representatives. But as a reminder, all votes taken at the NPU are only recommendations. Final decisions are made by city boards, city administrators, or city council. And I hope that you will take advantage of expressing your opinion there as well, either in writing, by phone, or making a comment during public hearing opportunities. Your participation is critical to our form of grassroots democracy. Our first order of business tonight is to approve the agenda. It has been posted in the chat, and a link was sent to the email distribution list sent out late today. Are there any additions to tonight's full agenda? They will have to be added with a vote, however. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I can motion.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, and Katie, you were the second?
Katie.
Okay. Are there any objections to adopting the agenda? Then the agenda is adopted without objection. Next, the March minutes are now ready for review and posted in the chat. They were also in a link to the reminder emails and posted to the NPUF websites. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? I don't see or hear any. Is there a motion to adopt the March 2026 minutes?
Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Marla. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. Okay, any objections to adopting the March 2026 minutes without changes? The minutes are adopted. Thanks to Catherine King for preparing the minutes and Marla Johnson for getting them up on the website this month. Just a couple quick announcements. We received several SAP permits this month for NPU and neighborhood review. The first was SAP 2647 at 1958 Piedmont, Cocina Latina, and the other was SAP 26048, 1842 Cheshire Bridge Road, which is Las Margaritas. Both are for Cinco de Mayo events and were sent to MLPA in Piedmont Heights. SAPs do not require NPUF votes. If there are any questions or comments about those, you can get them to the respective neighborhoods. Also, the Housing and Code Enforcement Division is sponsoring an open house to discuss the in-rem process and blighted properties on May 1st from 10 to 11 in the municipal court on Garnet Street. I've attached a flyer into the chat with more information and a way to register for the meeting. This has been an issue that's come up on Cheshire Bridge several times, and so I wanted to make sure folks were aware of the opportunity. And then my last announcement is that last fall, you may recall, that we had a presentation from Mercy Housing on the Amsterdam Walk Phase 1, which is a Portman Holdings project. They were requesting funding from Invest Atlanta to construct 135 affordable housing units at 60% and 80% AMI. NPU F declined making any recommendation, either for or against, because of the late notice from Invest Atlanta that it was on their agenda for the next day, and the Invest Atlanta committees had already voted to approve it. Yesterday, I received a request asking for a recommendation letter, or could they write one on our behalf? I sent them the notes from the September 2025 meeting saying that we had declined sending a recommendation and also declined the request for them to write one on our behalf. If you're interested in my response, which was a little snarky, please let me know. Okay. Alex, I saw Alex Wan has joined the meeting. Alex, are you able to participate now, or do you want us to wait until later in the meeting?
I'm good. I'm good. I have my event changed, so I'm here.
Oh, thank you. And I hope you didn't change it on our behalf. Thank you.
We're good.
Okay, good. All right, then we'll go to reports from city departmental reps. Is there anyone here from Atlanta Fire and Rescue Department? I don't hear anybody. APD, Captain Knapp.
Good evening, everybody. Captain Knapp, Zone 2 Assistant Commander. Let me catch you up on the snapshot of what we're looking at crime-wise up until today. Through week 15, the city sits at a minus 10% reduction in crime reported year-to-date compared to 2025. Zone 2 itself is sitting down 17% compared to last year at this time. Property crimes still drives our crime in Zone 2, but we are down 22% so far on the year. Our crimes against person are up 25%, but again, got to paint that picture for you. Our violent crime is between domestic violence or known acquaintances. We had one random act, but the suspect has been identified by our CID. We're working closely with them. We feel that warrants are going to be forthcoming. That was just a shots fired call at one of our problem areas off of Cheshire Bridge. So we're just waiting for the warrants to be drawn up on that. Our robberies are down 17%, and multiple robberies reported throughout the year, again, are domestic violence in nature. They start off as fights. One of the subjects may grab a phone or a purse or a wallet and leave. That escalates into what we consider a robbery. So they are domestic violence in nature as well. We're not showing any random acts of robbery or what have you. Our stolen vehicles are down 51%. If we can continue to get on our Uber Eats drivers and the delivery services, we're going to be in a much better space. But down 51% through week 15 is outstanding. Our theft from autos are down 46% in Zone 2. We work closely with our CID and our larceny from auto unit, and just recently they secured arrest warrants for Mr. Marcus Eppinger. He is related to the rest of the Eppinger family that has a pretty violent history throughout the city. Many of the family members are in prison. Mr. Eppinger is a 14-cycle convicted felon. He's responsible for 17 vehicles being broken into in our Cheshire Bridge corridor. Investigators and the responding officers did a great job. Fingerprints, video, just goes to show that we do work closely. Our shopliftings are carrying us in crime for property as well. But last week we had 15 shoplifting incidents. Many of these locations in our commercial district do not have extra job officers. They do not have any type of officer there. But out of those 15, 8 were arrests on scene. 1 was diverted to PAD. 1 is a known repeat offender that is tied to previous incidents where CID will be securing some warrants on that as well. 404 weekend. In Zone 2, we had a plan of action that was in place. We were mainly concerned about our clubs. We did not compare logistically to some of the other zones that we knew their city parks and some other recreational areas were used. Our officers did an outstanding job in our problem areas throughout the 404 weekend and our operational period from Thursday night through Sunday night. We conducted 231 traffic stops and resulted in 23 arrests in this area. We did not have any major incidents, nor was there any hiccups in our plan of action. Some of the units were called to different areas of the city. Zone 2, our units were allowed to stay in the zone due to all of our high volume club areas on Cheshire Bridge and some other spaces throughout the zone. I did speak heavily with our homicide unit about the incident in Piedmont Park. They asked for me to share some updates with you. The Crime Stoppers tips is at $15,000. There have been over 40 credible tips received, and they are still being vetted. And bolos were released last week to the public. So please continue to share that news, to call Crime Stoppers with any information. It is assisting greatly in this investigation with homicide, and I promised them that I would let all of our NPUs know that. But that's what I have for Zone 2, unless there's any questions for me.
There's one hand raised, Christine Dunham, and please let Captain Knapp know which neighborhood you're from.
Hi, I'm Christine Dunham. I'm on, I guess, Virginia Highland, but I'm on the edge with Morningside, so I feel I'm in both really. I think we're all in this Zoom meeting witnessed and felt the 404 festival in ways that maybe weren't really accurately displayed in what you just talked about. There were things that I have not seen in the last 18 years of living here in Atlanta that happened, and no one responded to anything when we called 911, 311, whatever. All of our neighbors tried to deal with things, and it was on a level that has never been observed before. And so this idea that we, there was little crime and maybe it was in other areas, I think is not really addressing the real reflective view of what happened in Morningside and our Virginia Highlands. And so I am nervous that this is on the radar of what's going to happen in the future, given what's with Atlanta, with the Amsterdam Walk, in that we're going to see an increase in this type of events. And I'm just wondering, like, why is this not reflective in the review of what happened? Because I know I called 10 times and no one came out for anything. We had fire hydrants that were in front of my whole, I couldn't even get out of my driveway. And this is me times 10. And so what is the reality and what is reflective and what is being displayed by what you say?
Okay, the area that you're speaking about is Zone 6, so I will defer a little bit to Captain Davis on that, but I will advise Piedmont Park had multiple officers in there. Last weekend, or during 404 weekend, was one of the largest call volumes our E911 system ever experienced. So these calls do get prioritized. Outside Piedmont Park, we had several other locations where we were having these teen takeovers. We've already seen them turn violent. We've seen them turn violent It's not just in Atlanta. Cobb County is not immune to this. Douglas County, all of our surrounding counties are not immune to it. We take them extremely serious. When we hear about these teen takeovers, our homeland and our analysts do a great job of funneling that information directly out to the ground and the boots on the ground. So another thing that I can advise, you may say that you didn't see an officer. We had so many undercover officers working throughout the city that weekend, and that is imperative for us. That information, that live information that gets shared. But I promise you, we had almost everybody in the city. Well, we were canceled off days and 12-hour shifts. So we had a plethora of officers, but those calls get prioritized through E911 and then they get dispatched to us. The incident inside Piedmont Park, again, that's zone 5, not even zone 2. I can share with you. That wasn't even a 911 call. We had officers inside the park responding to shots fired, running to the shots fired. They're the ones that called that call in. So I absolutely understand what you're saying, but I promise you, we had officers in every quadrant of this city.
Captain Davis, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Hey, good afternoon. It's Captain Davis, Zone 6, Assistant Commander. So to echo what Captain Knapp said, yes, we did have enough. We did have plenty of resources out during the 4-4-day weekend. Matter of fact, before the first couple of 911 calls that came out to any incident that happened, police were already there responding, speaking with dispatch. And as Captain Knapp said, we had overflow of 911 calls that came through our system that whole weekend, particularly that Saturday night. So there was more than enough officers around. But sometimes the violence, we just couldn't stop it, but we was there to react to it and do what we can in that manner. I see some hands up.
Go ahead.
So do you want me to report out, or do you want me to address the hands I raised?
When you're finished with how about if you give your report and then we'll get to the hands raised, okay?
Well, for this area, I'm looking at the year to date, and we're basically down about 43% as far as property crime on the Zone 6 side. We are up by 100% in, I would say, the persons crime, but that's because that's 1 versus 0. The crime that's driving our area for NPU F will be 608, 613, and 601's area will be deaths from vehicles. And that's what we're having right now. That's what's driving it up now. Year to date, we're still down. However, last year around this time, it was 79 crimes that happened from theft from vehicle. This year, we got about 40. So we're always preaching the clean car campaign and to keep stuff outside of your car. If you're gonna go out somewhere, to put it in your trunk. The majority of our ag assaults that happen in the area were all domestics and arrests on scenes. All right, the one that we do have at a 1509 PDL, it was at the Padilla School, and about 12 iPads were stolen. We're still working with CID. We've got video footage, and they still have that case going, and we're monitoring that closely. And that is it that we have on the crime. Some of these crimes as well, for the motor vehicle thefts, we're seeing the e-scooters, e-bikes that are being stolen. And we just learned this week that if you do have an e-bike, we need to make sure that you have your serial number or bill of sale and stuff like that, so that we put it on our system as stolen, and we could go ahead and track it.
Anything
If
else?
there's any other questions, you go ahead. I see Debbie, there's a bunch of hands raised, so you go ahead and call them out, and we'll just address them as we go.
Hey, Madam Chair, this is Alex Wan. I know I see a bunch of hands up. I just wanted to let everybody know that I spoke with Chief Schierbaum today at 5 o'clock. He's actually going to be joining this call at 8:15. And I wonder if the 404 event calls might be best addressed directly to leadership and to save the questions directly to that for when he's on. Because I think he's the best source of the information that folks are asking for and to hear the concerns that y'all have.
Thanks, Alex.
If we can also have the MOS attendee, we have somebody from the Mayor's Office of Special Events if we want to wait till 8:15, let's make sure the Mo's rep is on still as well.
Okay, I'm not sure who that is, but
Nor I.
Let me see who if I can find out who it is. But and I also see the Deputy Chief of Staff on the call as well. So there's a whole slate of folks on here.
Okay. Marla, is your question regarding 6 or 404?
It's not 404.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm in Morningside, and I just wanted to thank Captain Knapp and Captain Davis for the focus on Cheshire Bridge. It is really making a huge difference for the neighbors on our side streets that intersect with Cheshire Bridge, and especially Lieutenant Denson, who has been really on it with cars parked illegally and towing them, and the neighbors are just super appreciative, and I wanted to say thank you, and we hope it continues.
You're welcome. As far as the Morningside, we do have a detail coming in the next couple of weeks over there about Morningside and Cumberland. We got some information from Lieutenant Denson. I guess you told him about some school bus stops. Yes. So we do have a detail coming in the next couple of weeks with that. I've tapped the motorcycle unit, who's our traffic experts. They'll be coming out as well. And Zone 6 will be out there as well for our traffic vehicles.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Debbie. This is Ebony from the Mayor's Office of Special Events. So this is me with Mo's.
Okay, so I'm going to change your name when I get a chance. So that
can I change it? I mean, I don't know how. We don't use Zoom at the city. We use Teams, so
that's why
I'm not that familiar.
That's why I was offering. Okay, thank you for being at our meeting tonight. Okay. All right, Marla, I'm going to put your hand down. Are there any other questions for APD that are not 404 related? Okay.
Debbie, Nicholas Boxer has his hand raised on the screen.
Oh, okay. Nicholas, I'm not able to see your hand, but do you have a question?
It's sort of in between in the sense of it's 404, but I wanted to address it to the police as well. And
well, Chief,
will they be here for the later session as well?
I'll pop back in on the later session. I have another NPU to do real quick, and so when Chief jumps on, I'll be back here in NPU F.
Thank you, Captain Lewis.
No problem. I'll be back.
Thank you.
And Tom, is your question related to the zone?
Not related to 404. It was just a general process question. I wanted to thank Captains Knapp for the great report. It was very factual based, very succinct for this meeting, and I would encourage all the city departments to come with that level of organization. It was very helpful. I appreciate it. I do have comments about 404 as well, but we'll hold those for later.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. And as a reminder, if you're asking a question, please identify which neighborhood you're from so that folks have an idea of what part of the NPU you're speaking from. Okay. Officer Andrea Williams, do you have a short report? Officer Williams? Okay, we'll move on to Tamika Merriweather Clark, ATL 31.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
Officer Williams here.
Okay, Officer Williams, go ahead. Be brief, please.
Hi, everyone. Just here with a quick update with a 90-day report in reference to code enforcement. Currently, we have 51 property maintenance cases and 10 highly hazardous cases. I know you say move quickly, but my email and phone number is in the chat if anyone have any questions or concerns.
Okay, and if you have any questions, you can use the chat to get to Officer Williams. Thank you for being brief. Now,
you're welcome. Okay.
Tamika Merriweather Clark, ATL 311.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamika Clark Merriweather. I am your 311 ambassador. I am here for your non-emergency reportings or concerns. You can reach us, of course, by phone, chat, um, email, or on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, social media. You can also create your own portal and log your reports there. We are here to shuttle your cases to the designated departments or at least find someone to assist you with your concerns. Of course, we're here Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to midnight. You can call, chat, and go to social media. And you can also reach our supportive services and PAD Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to midnight. My supervisor's contact is in the chat, as well as a survey. To the young lady that was talking about the hydrants, we do take calls for water emergencies 24/7. So you can call 311 24/7 and you should be able to get to the Department of Watershed to make those emergency reports. Other than that, I'll leave the floor for any questions or concerns you may have.
Are there any quick questions or are there any questions that can go into the chat? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. Thank you, Tamika, for being here tonight as always.
You're welcome.
Is anyone here from Public Works Code Enforcement?
Good evening. Yes, I'm here. Pete Francis here. Just two observations. Just want to let you know that we're for the month of April, yard trimming is actually on a weekly basis, and we're continuing from last month, March, into April. So your yard trimming will be collected on your day of collection. You're reminded that residents are reminded that they should not put stone, soil, or anything other than yard trimmings in those paper bags. I've come across a few situations where residents put other stuff than yard trimming in those paper bags. In terms of your trash bin, you got to be mindful what you dispose in your trash bin. About 3 weeks ago over there in NPU B, we have a situation where one of those motorized toy car that use battery was disposed in a trash bin. And as soon as that compactor was compressed, then it started a fire. Thanks to the alertness of the collection crew, they were able to pull it from the truck. The resident indicate that they don't know how it get into their bin because it wasn't there. Apart from compliance with the code, there are reasons why we do not want you to leave your bin at the curb for any unduly long period, because what happened, the longer you leave it before collection or after collection, it present opportunity to others to just put stuff in your bin. Bear in mind that your bin, your trash bin, is your responsibility. Whatever is in your trash bin, the assumption is going to be made that it emanate from your property. That's basically it for me. Is there any question?
Does anyone have any questions for Officer Francis? Okay, I don't see any. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good to see you. Anyone here from Parks and Rec? All right, we'll move on. Watershed management. And the city solicitor, Marianne Uzoka.
Yes, good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. My name is Marianne Uzoka. I'm one of the assistant solicitors. I'm covering for Miss Bowles this evening, your usual rep. She's not able to make the meeting. I have my information in the chat if anyone has any questions for the city solicitor's office. I'll be glad to help.
Any questions for the city solicitor's office? Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you, and you all have a good evening.
Okay, thanks. Clyde Mitchell.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Mine will be very quick, Debbie. Good evening, y'all. My name is Clyde Mitchell. I am your neighborhood representative from the Ombuds office. Just continue to do what you do. Please be in touch with us if we can assist you in any way to escalate concerns and issues that you may have in your community. We can surface concerns to departments. We help you find information. We even mediate discord. If you have case numbers out there that have been out there for a while and the SLA has passed, please shoot that information to me, along the case number along with a brief history, and we will escalate that for you. Debbie, that's all I have. I'm doing double duty this evening.
And I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Clyde. And thank you for all that you've done for us.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other city departments that I may have missed? Okay, I don't see any others.
Debbie, what is Mo's part of the this portion? We'll be here.
They're not normally on our list of ambassadors to our meetings, but they will be here for the discussion about the special events a little bit later. So we'll give them a chance to speak then.
Okay, I'm sure the neighborhood would love to hear from them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Juan, do you have a report?
I do, and I'm going to try and honor Tom's request to keep it short and brief. So quickly, thank you to those of you who tuned in last night for the Monroe Complete or Safe Streets update. Just to let y'all know, the project is scheduled to break ground sometime second half of June or early part of July. It will be broken up into 3 phases. The first phase will be from Park Drive back all the way to Armour Yards. A lot of that is curb work, sidewalks, and then repaving and some striping. There are a lot of intersection improvements that will be done across crosswalks and some lighted crosswalks as well. So there was a whole set of questions and some notes from the meeting that Atlanta DOT is going to be providing, and I will share those out to the community. They'll do it directly, but I'll share that in my May newsletter coming up. Second thing I wanted to talk about is World Cup coming up in just over 60 days. Council is going to get briefed on that on Monday in terms of our preparedness, but we've got a briefing from APD, all of that, the public safety side is intact. And there's a lot of roadway work going on downtown. So if you're heading down that way, make sure to add a little extra time to your trip. We're on recess right now, but we'll be back in session beginning Monday. We've got a lot of big things ahead of us in the next couple of months. First one will be the budget that will be presented at the end of April. We've been told there will not be a property tax millage increase for the city of Atlanta. Be sure to keep pressure on Fulton County and the school board to hopefully do the same. And then the TAD extension project or the neighborhood reinvestment proposal that the mayor has been out there promoting over the last year. That will likely be before us after recess as well. And then zoning 2.0 that I appreciate the hard work that all the neighborhoods and NPU F have put in terms of comments. We understand will be before us this summer as well. I want to touch on the April 4th event, but not the public safety side, because I do think those questions are best waited for Chief Schierbaum. But on Monday, I am going to be dropping legislation to essentially take a look at special events in Piedmont Park, starting with the application process to things like traffic plans, public safety plans, public works plans, parking enforcement plans, fees that are charged if they're appropriate, and then kind of the reapplication process coming forward. I'm focusing on Piedmont Park. This is something I've been talking to the Conservancy about for some time now. I tried looking at it my first term in office, and Then it was focused on park resting periods to protect the lawn, the grass, and the infrastructure within the park. I'd like to take a bigger look at it and take some of the best practices that both NPU E and F have implemented for some of our larger events that have been successful, and then use some of the challenges that we faced last weekend as case studies for what needs to be tightened and improved. So I will be asking for representatives from the neighborhood associations and the NPU, other planning event producers as well, looking for a very short runway on this. So hopefully we can get recommendations and changes in place by the 2027 festival season. So just want to put that out there. I'm going to stick around for the 404 conversation later on this meeting, so that, to the extent that there's any piece of that that is relevant for our analysis and council's approach to this, I'll receive those. So Debbie, that's really all I had to report out. But I'm happy to take questions, but I will stick around for the specific April 4th discussion.
Okay, great. Are there any questions for Councilmember Juan? Rich Sussman? Rich, you're on mute.
I just read an opinion section article in Sunday's New York Times about San Francisco's new look at homelessness. It may be instructive.
Okay.
It was West Coast progressivism at its worst, not anymore. I know San Francisco has been struggling like many of our cities. They seem to have turned a corner. We'll see, but any new ideas I think would be helpful. And I think the council would benefit by looking at this.
So it was in the Times, New York Times?
Section.
You said New York Times?
Yes, Sunday.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I also see Nicholas Boxer's physical hand up.
Oh. Okay, Nicholas, we need to work on finding your reactions tab. But go ahead.
I can react. Here, let me hit it and you see if you see it. I couldn't find the thing like for voting. Oh, raise hand.
Yay.
Okay.
But it wasn't under extra. It was just under react. And it was like a heart. So it's like I didn't. Anyway, my question for Councilmember Juan was, I really like what you said about City Council taking a look at this. One question one thing that I'd like to at least see examined is the idea that events that I see as having the potential to turn into parties might be looked at differently. Might be looked at, it's like it was kind of weird this weekend, the Dogwood Festival, they charged an entry fee, which I don't care whether they do it or not. They were really doing it to reduce costs for the artists, but it seemed to keep people away. And yet for 404, not that that's a separate issue, but I mean, it's like they didn't, and it turned into pandemonium. And I'll address 404 separately, but I sort of thought the idea that events that could turn into parties should be looked at differently and should have different demands from on the people who are putting these events on.
Yeah, received. Yeah, I think we do need to look at kind of the application process, the categories, and then again, what happens when they reapply. So yeah, all received. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Alex? Nicholas, now you can put your hand down.
Oh, we got to teach him how to lower his hand.
Yeah.
All right, like I said, I'll stick around and look forward to the conversation later.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bianca Garcia, do you have a report from Councilmember Bond's office?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yes, my name is Bianca Garcia. I'm the Constituent Services Staffer for District 2, Councilmember Kelsey Bond, and for NPUF, that's Virginia Highland and Atkins Park. So the big project that we're working on right now is sidewalk repairs. And we have discretionary funds from our budget that we're using for sidewalk repairs and asking each of the NPUs and neighborhood groups to help us identify those in your area. So if you can send us ideas and specific examples of sidewalks needing repair in Virginia Highland and Atkins Park, please send that to our email and include an exact address and a picture if possible. If not, just let us know the location and we can do some follow-up and head out there. But we're collecting these across the district. So far, we've received a good size list from Old Fourth Ward, and there's been a lot of repairs happening in Midtown as well this past week. So I've dropped the contact info in the chat, as well as some links. So we've got our District 2 quick links. If you need any community resources, advocacy groups, or support, updates on MARTA, things like that, we've got that all there. So feel free to take a look and share that. And then just highlighted a couple of events that are really exciting. The completion of the Juniper Bike Lane. There's a ribbon cutting tomorrow on Thursday, April 16th. And then Finley Plaza ribbon cutting on Friday afternoon at Little Five Points. And then one other event that we're still working on with PAD is PAD is the Policing Alternative and Diversion Team, right? We're working with them to have a training on May 16th at the Little Five Points Community Center. So stay tuned as we finalize those details. And I encourage folks to connect with us through our newsletter and follow us on social media for more. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. And just as a reminder to the group, District 2 represents Virginia Highland, south of Virginia, and includes Atkins Park as part of that. So we've been peeled off of District 6 for the next 4 years, or until there's redistricting. So I'm assuming that's the area where you're concerned about sidewalks, that you wouldn't want to fix sidewalks up on Amsterdam.
Yeah, exactly. Virginia Highland is going to be like the main bulk of it for this group. Mhm.
Okay, great. Thank you. David Taylor Kloss.
Great. By the way, Bianca had a quick question. Which email do you want us to send the sidewalk stuff to? Just want to make sure I'm clear.
You can send it to Kelsey or myself. You can send it to
Perfect.
both. Either's fine. We're very much in communication.
We just don't want to bury you. If you
Oh no, please bury us. It's fine. We're used to
Got
it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for Bianca? Okay, is there anyone
you.
else here that is representing an elected official in the city or county? Okay. We still have a few minutes before Chief Schierbaum joins the meeting, so let's move forward on the consent agenda. We have well, all of our variances are on the agenda this week, and I'm going to turn that piece over to Katie DeWeese. But we also have one special event, which was a deferral. And now that I've lost my consent agenda. And that is lost on my sheet of paper. Joining Hearts, they have requested a deferral until wait a second, that's not right. I'm sorry. One Music Fest has requested the deferral, and that's what's on the consent agenda. Katie, do you want to go through the zoning?
Sure. I have is Bill on here, Bill Compton? I have one Piedmont Heights variance that we are going to push off for another month at 576 Wimbledon Road. It's the expansion of a duplex. The applicant is seeking a variance to reduce the side yard setback from 7 feet to 5.4 feet. So that one's going to ride. And then the rest of them are Morningside Lenox Park, and I'm actually going to give that to David.
No, I was waiting for you to do that.
Okay, then fine.
No,
I'll
no,
do it.
no. We have two that are out here on the consent agenda, and actually I have both of them in the room. We have George Estella's. He is for variance number B-2638, which is San Antonio Drive. And Diane Barfield and Brian Bro are in the room. That's variance B-2635 for Yorkshire Road. Both of these are, well, we'll take the first one, B-2635. The applicant seeks to reduce the required east side yard setback from 7 feet to 5.2 feet. This was site visit conducted, went through the zoning committee without any hitches, no neighborhood opposition, made it through MLPA, and that's how it ended up on the consent agenda. The next one is San Antonio. That is applicant seeks a variance from the zoning ordinance to reduce the east side yard setback from 7 feet to 1 feet or 1 foot, and a special exception to increase the height of a privacy fence in the east side yard from 6 feet to 8 feet. Once again, site visit was done. Everything matched the plans, no neighborhood opposition, made it through the MLPA zoning committee without any concerns, and approved through the MLPA board. What else would you like to know?
That's all we need for the consent agenda.
That's it.
Okay.
And then we have three other applications. One is V25-248, 901 Los Angeles Avenue. The recommendation is to defer the application. The plans for this application are being changed. The next is V2616. This is also being deferred at the request of the applicant. And the recommendation is to defer. And the last is V2642 at 2045 Lenox Road Northeast. The applicant seeking a variance to reduce the side yard setback from 7 feet to 0 feet. Lyndridge Martin Manor has requested a deferral, and that's the recommendation. Now, let me ask my questions. Is there anyone here who is in opposition to any of these recommendations? If you are, please raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised. Is there anyone here who wants to have an application removed from the consent agenda so that it can be discussed in its regular place on the agenda? Okay.
Debbie, this is Doug Young here. If we could just have Mr. Wees or Mr. Lyle review those cases just from start to beginning, because we sort of passed off who was handling which one. So if someone could do that, so we're all clear, myself included, on what actually is on the consent agenda or not.
Okay, let me do that. I've got it in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay, V25-248, that's 901 Los Angeles. That recommendation is to defer.
Yeah.
V2616, 1093 Amsterdam Avenue, also recommendation to defer.
Yeah.
V2642, 2045 Lenox Road, that application is to defer.
Yeah.
V2635, 623 Yorkshire, that recommendation is approval. And V2638, and that's on San Antonio. I think it's 750.
Yeah.
And that's also for approval. And Katie mentioned another one in Piedmont Heights. That is not on the consent agenda. That is, I think, actually going to be on the agenda next week.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's I got 5
right
BZA cases on the consent agenda.
And one deferral, one music fest.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome. Everyone clear on what's on the consent agenda? I didn't hear any opposition, and I didn't hear anyone want to take any of the cases off. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as discussed?
So moved.
Thank you, David. And is there a second?
I'll second, Tom.
Tom, okay. Okay, any discussion on the motion? Everyone understand what we're voting on? Okay, Nick Boxer, this is your opportunity to use your raise your hand function again. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. And as a reminder, you may vote if you are a resident or business owner or property owner in NPUF, but no cheating. Okay, I'm just going through the participant list to make sure that we caught all of the participants, the double participants. So I'm counting 20 ayes.
I agree. I get 20.
Great, thank you, Kay. Let me lower your hands. Is there anyone opposed to the motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So by a vote of 20 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we've got time to do the alcohol license applications.
Miss Debbie, I apologize, Captain Knapp. Chief Schierbaum just called. He is between engagements right now, and he should be jumping on the meeting if he's not already.
I haven't seen him join.
He just texted. He just texted me. Said his link isn't working. Let me see if I can forward him mine.
Okay, thank you. The LRB applications should be pretty fast. The first is Jack Brown's Beef and Burger Joint. Matthew Chung is the agent at 1006 North Highland Avenue. This is a restaurant, new application in old location. This is going to look familiar because previously the NPU approved the LRB application, I think unanimously. It has timed out while waiting for a building permit approval for renovations, and Virginia Highland didn't have any issues. Is the applicant present? Matthew, can you?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name's Elizabeth Mahoney with Sard and Leff Attorneys, and then Mr. Matthew Chung, the proposed agent on the alcohol license, is here as well.
And can you see his face? It's nice to see you, but like to see Matthew too.
He's on camera.
No, he's, well, how about if he speaks? Then it'll show up in my.
I can see him.
You can?
But I can't hear him.
That's what you mean.
Yes.
My apologies. All right, I'm in.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to add?
Y'all covered it. As Ms. Skabinski said, we were here 6 months ago, if that. Unfortunately, the application timed out due to building permitting timing. But now we're before you again, seeking approval yet again, and we're aiming for a June opening.
Okay, great. Are there any questions for Mr. Chung or Ms. Maloney? Nicholas Boxer.
There, I had to try it again. I just want to know, what is the location? I don't know by the address where it is, and what is the restaurant?
Sure. So the location's the old Taco Mac location, right in Virginia Highland. And then the concept, Matthew can talk to you a little bit more if I don't nail it, but a beer and burger joint. They'll have a bar on the inside and great burgers as well.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, great. Don't forget to put your hand down. Okay. If there's no other questions, is there a motion?
I move to support.
Thank you,
Tom, I'll second.
And that was Tom. Okay. All those in favor of the motion to support, please raise your hand. And you don't have to live in Virginia Highland to vote. Okay. Is everyone voted that wants to vote? I see 21. Okay, I'm seeing 21 ayes. Does that?
I also see 21.
Okay, great. Let me lower the hands. Is there anyone opposed to the LRB application? Anyone opposed? Going once, going twice? Okay, by a vote of 21 ayes and 0 nays, the application is approved.
Thank you very much.
And we'll get the recommendation to the appropriate people.
Debbie, that was 21 ayes?
21 ayes.
21 ayes, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So I understand now that Chief Schierbaum has joined the meeting. Chief, we're honored to have you here tonight.
Well, good evening, Debbie. Pleasure to be here. My apologies for being late. As you know, we had a Zone 2 town hall meeting this evening, so I appreciate you modifying your agenda. I hope I haven't kept anyone here later than usual, but just thank you everyone tonight for allowing me to be on and ready to participate in the discussion when you're ready to start.
Okay, we're fine in changing, and we'll be here for a while, so no worries. Why don't I ask you to kind of set the stage for the events on April 4th, and then we'll open up the floor for questions.
Certainly. And as you know, we've had Debbie, we had the opportunity to meet last week to review the events on that weekend occurring in Piedmont Park and throughout the city. And so we are in the phase of what we call our after action review. This is when, and this happens on any event in the city. We look at what occurred, what the response of the department was, response of partners, what needs to be modified for future events of that nature. That's an ongoing cycle within the organization. So we're in that process. A number of individuals have sent emails to my office of what you or your neighborhood experienced that weekend. Those are of value to that process. Particularly around issues of our traffic enforcement. It relates with our partners at ATL Plus and other organizations that we utilize to be able to secure events that happened in the area. So going back to April 4th, that was 3 days of events occurring in the city. Some of them which were related to 404. I had about 50 some 404 events occurring across the city. Other events occurring in the downtown space. We also had a large volleyball competition that was here and a few other items. Because of that, we did increase staffing throughout the course of the weekend. We modified reporting times, placed some units on extended hours. We were able to create react teams and response teams that were staged to move throughout the city as was necessary. Had very large crowds in the downtown space related to the events that was there for Piedmont Park, the Edgewood community, and around the AU Center. The commanders that were in place were communicating with the deputy chief, moving resources as was necessary, and information is being received in 3 different areas. 911 calls being received, being processed, and dispatched out. The information provided to the day commander. We also have an analyst team that are working, monitoring a number of social media streams that we monitor on a course of a day or on a weekend to know where groups may be forming. Those groups run the gambit from teen groups that may be forming, street racers in the city, individuals that may be filming videos, individuals that may be forming for protest activities. So it gives us information on where resources need to be shifted. Are we seeing groups that we know to be in conflict with each other in the gang culture that may be beefing or occupying a space? Information we need to know to develop the resources that we have. So Piedmont Park is one of the areas that we had events occurring. It did have one of the areas with an approved 404 event. Officers were assigned to that area in one of two ways. You had the event organizers that have secured extra job officers and private security that were assigned to that event. Then we had officers that were moving through the park that were from on-duty resources on the periphery of the park and moving through Zone 5, Zone 6, and Zone 2, the three zones that abut up against Piedmont Park. A lot of people are asking about guns in the park and that 911 calls were being made about guns in the park. So I do want to address that. In the state of Georgia, individuals 18 years and above are allowed to legally possess that firearm unless they have been convicted of a felony or a court has ordered them not to be able to possess that weapon. The calls that we did receive in the park, they were responded to. Individuals, we either did not locate them with a gun or they could legally possess that firearm. We also did receive the reports in the park of groupings of teenagers. When officers went, they either found teenagers that were abiding by the law because the curfew had not yet started. Curfew would not start on that night until midnight in the city, or we did not see any criminal activity occurring. We did respond to reports of teenagers running, responded to those areas, did not see any criminal activity or public safety issue that would address that. The event that was scheduled for the park did close down at 7:45. That was a little bit early based on a decision by the extra job coordinator and the event organizer based on cell phones no longer having strong signals in the area, which did not allow them to communicate with the number of private security guards that they had. And so that event closed down at approximately 7:45, still dealing with heavy congestion in and around that area. We had a number of car accidents that was contributing to the flow of traffic. We had a lot of people just out on the street in the city that night. And then Midtown, as many people are aware, has resurfacing and the laying of water and sewer lines that is complicating, for the time being, the flow of traffic. Some events in Piedmont Park does have an established traffic plan, such as Music Midtown. Others, this particular event did not have a established traffic plan, and so therefore there was not a traffic plan that was enacted. What the department was doing was actually diverting traffic, particularly around the time that the shooting occurred, that we had to start diverting traffic from the area to be able to secure the crime scene to do the investigation. Now, when shots were fired at 9 p.m., that the first reports we had, that was our officers in the park coming over the radios, reporting shots fired, responded to the area. And then that was immediately followed by a number of 911 calls that were being made from the space that we've been able to use to further the investigation and also to help us start holding people accountable. The investigation is progressing well. Unfortunately, I cannot give detailed information on this call, but because of the camera system in the park, because of the response we've had from the community of individuals whose photographs we've put up, I feel very good that we'll be able to announce to this NPU and others that we're going to hold individuals accountable. The day commander continued to shift resources throughout the city, making sure that we were addressing issues that were crowds being gathered throughout Atlanta. Unfortunately, this particular one, an individual possessing a weapon, chose to discharge that weapon. We believe at least one other person fired a weapon in the park. We are going to hold them accountable. We are going to place them before a judge of this county, and I hope the judge takes the concern of this department and this community seriously around people who are discharging weapons in our city. The issues that played out, we're looking at them closely to know what needs to be adapted to the plan for the next time. We have certainly heard from everyone that we're frustrated about the response around parking complaints and responses around noise complaints and traffic issues. I hear everyone on that. The way our system works is we have a priority system of 0 through 4, 0, 1, 0, priority 0, priority 1, priority 2 being the highest, which gets the immediate response of the department. And if we are almost to your call, and it is a parking complaint and a call comes in of a higher priority, by policy, we must redirect to that higher priority call. And that's what the citizens experienced and felt on the weekend. We're in a very good space. Long term, we have over 250 officers in training, as we are now back to 90% staffed, but 250 of those are still in training. And so as we continue to push officers out from our monthly Academy of graduations, you're going to continue to see our response time to priority 3 and 4 responding. So, Debbie, that is the a quick high overview. Certainly open for any additional questions. I'm also getting a lot of questions around our preparation for World Cup. So I didn't know if you wanted me to address that now, or if you wanted to wait until another moment in this meeting of your NPU to be able to address our preparation for World Cup. Legitimate questions about our preparation and being ready in light of gun violence that we saw that particular weekend.
Why don't you go ahead and address it now, and then I'll ask folks if they have questions to raise their hand. So we'll kind of get folks staged for that.
Yes, ma'am. So as you know, we've been planning for 2 years when we became aware that Atlanta had been selected for one of the host cities. That our planning started immediately, and it's formed up in 3 areas. One, being able to protect the games themselves. That is actually led by our state and federal partners, with us having a strong support role in it. The protection of the actual Fan Fest and all of the activities around the Fan Fest, the downtown area, the host hotels, the other events that's being planned, and then to be able to continue to deliver police services throughout the rest of Atlanta. There's 245 neighborhoods in our city. Only one of those are hosting the World Cup, and we're going to make sure that we continue to see no drop off in delivering police services in the other 244. What that looks like for us, we're using effective plans around Super Bowls, college football championships, going as far back as the Olympics 30 years ago, to be able to use proven measures to be able to continue to execute our mission. The entire department is working. Unless you are serving in the armed forces of our nation, or unless you are have a new baby that has arrived, you cannot have leave in our department for those 6 to 7 weeks. You must be working. We've also, during those 6 to 7 weeks, will be pausing all administrative functions unless the law dictates it or it is required for the mission of the department. All resources are being redeployed out to one of the key core functions of the department: response to 911 call, proactive crime fighting, and mitigating of a critical incident such as an active shooter, terrorism threat, something of that nature, are all within our core functions. Of the 250 that are currently in training, based on where they are at in their training phase, they will be reassigned out to the department to carry out functions based on their training level at that time. That frees up a number of resources. You know, we are the largest law enforcement agency in the state of Georgia with 1,840 currently onboarded, supported by 500 civilians. Again, 250 of them in training. So we will be maximizing everyone in their roles. To ensure that we don't deplete the needed resources throughout the city, we've asked for another 200 to 250, depending on the game days, officers from other agencies to be temporarily assigned to us. We got an overwhelming support of that. Over 400 officers were offered to us, and so they will be working during that space and time frame. They're being housed, if they're not immediately in the region, at Georgia State University dormitory system, and they're being fed by the Georgia State University's cafeteria system. So the ability to have a significant number of officers in that space to free up our officers to be out throughout the city has worked very well in other large-scale events, and we're actually going to use that again and build upon that. We'll have a number of state troopers with us, a number of supporting partners. We have our mounted patrols from Memphis, Tennessee, Savannah, Georgia, Cobb County that will be joining our mounted patrol, and then a litany of resources from our federal partners that will be here helping us protect against the terrorism threat that will be present all across the nation as we have our 250th anniversary, as well as hosting the games. Intelligence is a very key portion of this. We have a strong infrastructure built into our Joint Operations Center that is regional based, local based, federal and state based, that provides us clarity, information that we need to deploy those resources. We currently have over 25,000 cameras in our Connect Atlanta infrastructure, more going in before the games, quick turnaround of repairing those to make sure we have full contact. We've also added new technologies into the 911 center to be able to quickly recognize that individuals are reporting the same fire, the same car accident, the same medical emergency, the high visibility call that may be at play that sometimes can clog up the 911 center. That center will be on expanded staffing and enhanced staffing throughout the course of the 6 to 7 weeks, allowing us to speed our answer times, using technology to also track the cell phones in a much more higher accuracy than we've had up until this last month, and then also have the ability to communicate through multiple languages that will be present here. That plan, while 2 years in the making, is being refined daily based on new information that we've become aware of. Is the team changing their hotel? Do we have new information around terrorism or conflicts in the goal in around the globe that causes us to be able to need to change the plan or bring in additional resources? We still have a number of agencies that are offering to provide us assistance, and if we see that assistance is needed, they will be brought in, just like the MARTA Police Department is bringing in a number of additional officers from transit systems across the nation to be able to supplement them. It's going to be a long month and a half for our department. The officers will be working long hours. They're going to be in the space where they need to be to make sure that we're keeping citizens safe and working to address any issues that may arrive. We need everyone to, if you see something, to text us, to call us, to email us, so we have that information that we can respond appropriately. And if someone is going to attempt to do harm here in the nation, we're going to have a quick, around the nation here in our city, we're going to have a quick response to that at that time. So I hope that's helpful, and I can go into some detail on that if necessary. Some things we can't reveal until after the game of what we've taken to protect the city, particularly in the realm of counterterrorism. So I hope that was helpful.
It was. Thank you. We do have a few hands that are raised, and I want to remind those that please don't speak until you're called on, and that we are following NPU F rules for decorum. So nothing rude, and please be respectful, and no snark. This is a snark-free zone. The first hand that went up is Dion Malik. Dion, don't forget to unmute.
Yep, just did. Thank you.
And let us know your neighborhood, please.
Sure. Yep. Dion Malik Aldiri. I am Morningside, Lenox Park community. I lived in Ansley for 2 years before we purchased. So I've been here for about 15 years in the area. My kids attend APS schools, have since kindergarten. They're at Midtown. So regardless of what it says on the documents that are approved through MPUs, what I see on a weekly basis is that many of those guidelines are not in place just for the coming and going when I'm on 10th and Monroe for events at the park. So I just want to state that as a parent, and I'm just coming on here for the first time and a community member. So I think that guidelines are great. And things that are approved sound wonderful, but the accountability is lacking there a lot. With this event, I guess I'm a little bit confused because everything that I saw was the event lasted until 9, and then the 21 and up events in different areas of the park lasted until 11. And I'm just confused by that because now it's being said that the event stopped at 7:45. Can you give us the timeline a little bit more? Because I am a community member that live in this community, and I didn't even know that it ended at 7:45.
Yes, ma'am. That's what's been provided to us. As I stated at the beginning, the after action report is continuing. So I am giving preliminary information that is provided to us at the beginning of that process. We'll have a more clarity at the end, but that is what has been given to us, is that the event organizer ended his event at 7:45. As you know, the park remains open till 11. So individuals are not required to leave the park. At that time, they can remain in the park until 11 o'clock if they so wish to do so.
So how were attendees notified? Like, what did that actually look like for people in the park and the community to be known that this event planner shut it down at 7:45? I have heard rumors from other parents that there were fights and that's why it was shut down. So just again, wondering how, when someone just shuts down an event, how is that relayed to everyone?
We will get that from Parks and the Mayor's Office of Special Events. I don't have that information yet. Ours is a public safety approach review that will come into us as we move forward. So we will have that information that will probably be conveyed either by Parks or the Mayor's Office of Special Events.
Okay. So I appreciate that we can get more information on that and hope you look at all of these events on not just when the event is taking place, but the setup and takedown, because it significantly impacts our community and safety and security is not there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dion. And I'm going to lower your hand. David Taylor Klaus.
Hey, by the way, thank you, Dion. Captain Schierbaum, and this may be both a question for you and for the woman who's here from Moe's, because I'm concerned that this promoter, I'm not sure how this happened, that the promoter was able to, especially on a repeat event that we know the scale of it, was able to put in an application for with a lowball estimate of up to 1,999 participants when we know it far exceeds that, and how that got through the city and the Moe's office. And I think what's important, what I'd really like to understand, maybe Captain, this is for you, is when an event is approved for a certain scope, does that impact the amount of security they have to provide? Because I appreciate that APD was out. I'm sorry, Debbie, I didn't tell you where we are. We're in Virginia Highland. I live on Crest Hill, right up against the park. I'm 2 doors in from the park. And so our experience was music went on till 9 o'clock. The movement out of the park from the participants started about then. And within a handful of minutes after we heard the shooting, the crowd moved to running down our street. So we experience the events in the park, and I know how much APD was there because we were in the park for part of the event. And I really appreciate y'all being there. It feels like the promoter didn't do adequate security on their own. So I know that you guys were covering for a lot, which is also why so much of the takeover and the street racing that was going on in our neighborhood, y'all couldn't respond to because you were handling the park. So I really want to understand what that process is for permitting, for accuracy on the permitting, and for providing security. So Captain and Mose, if you can help out with that.
So, David, this is Darren Sherman. I'll jump in, and then if the zone wants to weigh in or Mose. So, our primary contact for any large event such as this is the zone commander. In this particular case, the Zone 5 commander, looking at what has been provided to them, what they know about the event, and then making recommendations to the plan as necessary. I do know additional officers were added to the initial complement for this event. We then, as part of the after action, working with Moe's, we go back and say, here's what we were told to be here, here's what was experienced, and then that influences next year's plan for us. And that we look at. Then also we have resources that are at play in the city that can be moved around for whatever reason. Let's say there's something going on in the park that has nothing to do with that event if we need additional officers there or a neighboring county. So we look at it on the front end, what we know, what's being proposed. I used to be the Zone 5 commander years ago, particularly around Music Midtown and others. A lot of discussions with the neighborhood of what they're experiencing and what needs to be crafted for that event. So that's why this conversation is important for us. Communication with my office as we influence for any future permits that may be issued for the space in this event. So that's how our side is. Then I'll let Mo speak on what they view on that fine for the final issuance and then any renewal in the next year.
Great. Thank you. Ebony?
Hi, how are you?
And
glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sorry it's so dark. It's yeah, in my background. But let me just I want to just back up a little bit because I think that the neighborhood and everyone on needs to understand how our process works. And we are governed, the Mayor's Office of Special Events is governed by Chapter 142. I, as the Special Events Director, am the proxy for the Chief of Staff. My job is to receive applications. It doesn't matter if I disagree with the application, if I think the applicant is, I don't like them, I don't have a good relationship, none of that. I have to be objective and I must accept applications if they are submitted with substantially complete information. I receive the application, we review it. We look for the who, the what, the where. Does it have a legible site plan? Does it have a security coordinator? Has this event happened before? Have we had issues in the past? So once we are at that process. We receive the application, we review for those things I just mentioned, and then we send this application out to all city departments that are relevant to the application. That includes Atlanta Police Department, which reviews and provides approvals or denials on security plans, traffic, and if an event is outside of a city park, APD serves as the venue owner. For example, I will go to the zone and say, hey, can this event happen on the street? Can it happen on this sidewalk? Can it happen in this parking lot or private property because it has more than 500 people, or they have alcohol, or they have elements that reflect a festival, which could be a stage. So then for a park, we look for Parks and Recreation. Please review this application. Can this event occur in the park? Do you have any conflicts? Is there an issue from the past with cleanup, overcrowding, etc.? Parks and Recreation determines if an event can happen in a park. They also determine if the event site plan is sufficient, because Parks also manages events that may not come through our process, like rentals or events at the Conservancy. So they will determine where an event can occur. And also amplified sound in a park. Park dictates if the amplified sound can occur, what time, etc. The other departments include sanitation, which is public works. If there is anything from watershed, it's necessary. Watershed will weigh in, as will MARTA, and Bureau of Buildings for stages, etc. My point is, we don't approve permits. We facilitate the approval process, and we then reach out to the departments to say, this is what they're presenting. What are the requirements back? Do you approve or do not approve? Are there approvals with conditions? And so once we receive that formal feedback in writing, it takes weeks. It takes lots of communication between the applicant and the departments. And then we put this together as a recommendation to the chief of staff. If I have all of the approvals and the applicant has appeared before the NPU, if the NPU supports the application, great. If the NPU does not support the application, I then will reach out to the chair. And in this case, we got a support for the last 3 years from NPU F. It was on the consent agenda. And we got a non-support from NPU E, but I will read what it says in the non-support if that's necessary. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but the non-support has said the applicant did not attend the M&A, and other applicants do, and that was the reason for 2024, 2025. 2026, it was blank. So I did speak to Nabil, and Nabil about some other events as well. It did not come up where this was an issue in terms of the actual events. Yes, it's not pleasing to the NPU or M&A that the applicant or the applicant's representative did not go to the M&A, but there were no indicators that this event was going to be a problem. So in my compiling of the approvals from the departments, I submit that to the chief of staff with all of this information, including notifications to council, appearance information, and the chief of staff will review. And if APD, fire, all of the departments that I mentioned approve, there is no legal reason, and this is a general comment, no legal reason why an application would not be approved. So that is a summary of our process. And so I want to make sure that it's clear on what the Mayor's Office of Special Events does. I am not authorized to approve a permit because I'm not the subject matter expert in those variations that are in the application. So with that said, I'm here to answer any questions about the process or how we, look at each application.
Ebony, we may invite you back to another NPU meeting when we've got a little bit more time to talk about process.
Sure.
I think we all have a lot of questions, but I want to take advantage of having Chief Schierbaum and the two captains from Zone 2 and 6 here to respond to questions. The next hand that was raised is Kay Stevenson.
Hi, I'm not going to belabor what other people are already saying, but whether, Alex, this comes down to different legislation or Mose, it comes down to different process. I think we have a very clear perception that not just this event, but many events are not properly permitted in terms of they apply as if it's a very small local event and then it's promoted regionally. So we end up with these huge crowds. And we know that when it's permitted as a smaller event, they have lesser requirements in terms of security, in terms of trash cleanup, in terms of all of those issues. So as I said, whether it is process or whether it is legislation or whatever it is, we must get a handle on how we vet these events and how we vet and hold accountable the operators of these events. And so that you will have my full support in making sure that that happens. Thanks.
Thanks, Kay. Annette McBrayer.
Yes. I have just, well, I'm trying to get my video off, but it doesn't seem to want to go off. Oh, there we go. Was this considered a team takeover that was generated through social media? And that's my question.
Yeah, hey, Annette, this is Darren, so I can give you some insight into that. So, and I want to make sure we put this into legal possessions. There's areas teens can be that they're legally allowed to be. And then there is an effort, generally through social media, to rally a large group of individuals to illegally take over a space or to cause mayhem. So we have a team, their job is to monitor social media at all times. We also work very hard to develop connections throughout Atlanta Public Schools, Fulton County Schools, the private schools throughout the city to make sure we also have clarity that may be skipping social media because kids trying to stop the police from knowing or mom and dad from knowing will often do direct messaging within a very small group. So we had zero publication, hey, let's go to Piedmont Park and take it over. It didn't show up like we did on the Beltline about a month ago, Inman Park about a month ago, the skate park at Willoughby Way over at the skating rink on Cascade Atlantic Station. Those were promoted. Those are ones where once we know who the promoter is, we are charging them. We are charging those that are organizing events to do something illegal in a mass gathering without proper supervision or structure. And we saw none of that here. Do we believe we had a number of teenagers in the space in the park? We do, because we could see it with our own eyes. There was no curfew violation occurring. We do believe that those that we've been able to identify so far were not APS students, but were actually from outside the region, which we'll now announce in the future. So we saw no let's rally in Piedmont Park. It is a public park, though, and individuals can be there
Yes.
to 11, and the city curfew on that night doesn't take place until midnight. So we didn't see a traditional let's all go there like we combated Atlantic Station and the Beltline. That wasn't there. But I do think we saw the fact that every school in the region was on spring break. I think that did contribute to teenagers being in the park that were not necessarily APS students.
So going forward with World Cup, it's the summer, kids are out. How are you going to keep this from happening again? And we having a huge embarrassment for the city with the World Cup.
And we're going to continue to enforce the law. That's our tool. Last year, we charged 52 parents last year for not by not abiding by the curfew, by allowing their children to be out. Already this year, we've charged 20. Right. I really hope the courts take note of that. We do have all throughout the summer. We have a number of camps that are open. We operate 2 youth camps. We support 4 At Promise centers with summer programming. The Department of Parks and Recreation has a range of camps. I know the mayor has been looking to expand that capacity during the summer months. I can't make parents be parents, but I can certainly charge them when they're not. And once the curfew arrives, then we start enforcing the curfew. We start taking measures. So it's going to be us enforcing the law. It's going to be encouraging parents to take advantage of our 2 youth camps that we operate as the Atlanta Police Department, taking advantage of the camps that will be in place throughout the summer. And one of the manners we're going to be doing, we've actually formed a specialized team that we believe speaks the language of the youth, using the mechanisms they use to do a lot of messaging throughout the summer. This is what you can do. This is what will get you in trouble. And then you're going to see our public affairs team telling parents what we do. I mean, 52 parents were placed before a court of this city last year, 20 this year already. And we're going to continue to do that when individuals decide they're going to violate the law.
So what was the average age of the mass majority of these young people? Did they actually come under the curfew, or were they more college students?
We didn't have a legal right to stop and question them, ma'am. They could
But I
occupy
mean,
the.
eyes
We don't.
on people.
Yeah,
You
we
can,
can't stop them and we can't question them. The park was open till 11, so everybody could be in the park until 11, and they're able to legally do that and remain in that space. So we didn't stop and ask them their age, nor did we see an action occurring that would allow us to legally have detained them. If we saw that, we would. Through the course of the weekend, there were just looking at the weekend. In Atlanta, Georgia, we arrested 18 juveniles throughout the course of the weekend. We also turned others over to their parents without charges. And so being able to tell you what the age was, just wouldn't know that. From speaking to my team, I think we had high school, college ages in the park from what they could see. But I wouldn't be able to tell you that without actually having stopped people and ask them what their age was.
yeah, I know. It's just kind of if you're a younger person, then you can look at people and tell their age. So the point of my question with that is, if they're college age, then are all these mayors' initiatives about camp, does that target that group, or is that that age group outside of what the mayor's trying to do?
Yeah, our teen takeovers have not been college students. Our teen takeovers and that have been middle school and they've been high school.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and these are great questions. And so I wish the P in APD stood for the Atlanta Parenting Department, that it doesn't. So we have the law to enforce. And so that's what we're going to continue to do. I just need judges to take note that people we put before them are impacting the safety and the quality of life of our communities.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Justin Martirana?
Yes, Justin Martirana. I'm a Morningside resident, live very close to the park. So I'll have one question for the chief and one question for Ms. Barley from Mose. So Chief, first off, thank you for being here. So question for you. At what point would APD determine that an event has exceeded safe operating conditions? And in hindsight, do you think the 404 festival and the related impact on the neighborhood exceeded those thresholds?
Yeah, so Justin, for us to shut anything down, we were going to have to articulate a violation of the law or a public safety threat that would be able to stand any challenges that may be brought forth around this needs to be shut down and moved on. That obviously involves acts of violence, that involves criminal activity. that involves information around a gang threat, involves information around a terrorism threat, a number of criteria that we can report to that says this needs to stop. We would engage, obviously, the proper permitting entities to say this needs to be revoked. The fire department also has a role in that. So fire department speaks up on capacity. Fire department has a set of criteria that they would impose. Everything that I've read, since we're doing our act for action report, I do not see that right now. I do not see that is a very large park that has a very large capacity. We were not at the point that curfew was to be enforced. My gang intelligence team did not report anything to us that says we have conflicting groups in the space. We did not get a terrorism alert that said that there was a terrorism risk there. And there certainly wasn't, as I stated, a capacity issue. So it is on a case-by-case basis what laws are being violated that says there's now a public safety threat, what actions are occurring that may not be a violation of the law, but are certainly within the knowledge of the event that we would say this needs to be shut down. I've not seen it. I don't want to speak to the end of my judgment on that, but I have not seen anything right now that says the event should have been stopped or that we should have cleared the park at that time for individuals to have everyone leave the park.
Okay, I do have to ask a follow-up, and I'm talking about sort of the broader park, the Monroe and Piedmont corridor. So it does sound like you are saying that the operating conditions were safe on both Monroe and Piedmont.
Well, until someone pulled a weapon and started firing it, we responded to reports of altercations in the park. When the officers arrived there, they did not see any. And then individuals possessing guns are allowed to do that if they are above the prescribed age, which is very difficult environment as a law enforcement entity to navigate. It is the laws of the state. I hope the General Assembly takes note of that. As it relates to traffic, we made a number of traffic arrests throughout the city and in Zone 5 and Zone 6. I'm looking at a number of DUI arrests that were made, a number of driving offenses that were done. Was I at every point in the city, or have I received a report of every city? I clearly haven't, so I don't want to again say what our final conclusion would be. But what I've read now, we did not, and we had the same assessment was going along on Edgewood. The same assessment was going along at Underground Atlanta, and the same assessment was going on at other events that we had in the city. And none of them reported back shutdown criteria or move in and clear the space out.
Okay, I appreciate your response.
And here's what we do too, just so you know, we review everything, every 911 call that was made, emails that come into my office, social media posts that were made, because where we're at is only our own view of what we have. And some people see something, but they don't call 911. So we try to get a whole picture of what was occurring to know, did we have yellow flags that were missed, or did we misread information that we were receiving? So that's always part of our review, not only for this, but for the Club Cup games that we have, Peachtree Road Race, no Kings marches. Those are the assessments that we do to try to have a clearer picture, so our plans improve over time.
And Debbie, is it okay if I pivot to our Mo's rep?
Yeah, if it's a short question, because I would like to move on if we can. Okay.
Sure. So, Ms. Barley, is Mo's doing anything differently in light of last week's experience?
In what way, sir?
I mean, do you believe that there's an opportunity to change your evaluation process, change the way you investigate certain events or certain promoters, their security plans? Have you made any changes as a result of last week?
So I just explained to you the process. We do not approve security plans. That would be APD. I cannot override APD. My job is to facilitate the process and to receive feedback from the departments. It is codified. Our process is codified, and we are facilitators. We do not make decisions on the permit. Are you asking me if I would override what APD says is required for security? I cannot by law.
Okay. So you think there's opportunities in code to change?
Sir, I'm going to defer you to the legislator on the call, but my job is to implement the code, not to interpret it or change it.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Rich Sussman? Don't forget to go off mute.
Sorry. So, Wintersmart matter, based upon the preliminary investigation, would you do anything different? Based upon what you know at this particular time, if this particular permit came up again?
What I would do is ask parks, hey, would you do anything different? Are there any changes or do you approve? I would ask the same of APD, fire, and the other departments that I am required to reach out to. I do not make a decision on the permitting process. It is designed that way for me to facilitate and gather the approvals or denials from departments. I'm not sure how to explain that better.
I understand that. Okay, and from the city police department, based upon your preliminary investigation, are there any actions that APD would take in the future to say make these events safer?
Yeah, so too soon to say that. Here's what we do on every event. Right now, a normal process is underway. What happened? Was it aligned with what was presented to us would be occurring? It's going to be interesting to me to know, Rich, is like who was in the park with the firearms and why did they pull the triggers, right? That's what I need to know to be able to know what else we're going to have to do. We had a lot of events occurring in the city, some equally attended and in more concentrated areas than in Piedmont Park. So we are assessing that now. Our role is always starts with presence. Then it's enforcement, and then it's working with our partners to influence behavior if we believe that behavior is going in a different direction. I want to know the people possessing the guns, were they out on parole? Were they out on probation? Who said that they could and could not be there? We have a serious problem with who possesses weapons and how easily they're used. That happened here. And it's something that we take seriously, not only on April 4th, but just every day of the year when our officers are out engaging the area. So I don't want to answer that yet just because I don't know yet, but we're always looking on should it have been more officers? Should there have been a different team deployed? Did we need a different partner in the space with us? And those are what we're committing you and everyone in PF that we will do for this one is going forward and for everyone else that we have.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful maybe in the months ahead for either the zone commanders or the representatives who come to our meeting from APD to, if there are any differences in policies or different ways you're going to be responding to these events to report that to the NPU. It really would be helpful.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. And we're in conversation now with the administration, other partners, on an ongoing cadence around juveniles and around gun possession, right? Those are two areas that we significantly need help on and something that we'll certainly share with this body as we make our recommendations.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Rich. Nicholas Boxer?
Thank you. I really do appreciate what APD does. So I'm glad you guys were there and doing everything you could under the circumstance. But I do want to express that something has to change because I've lived here 37 years. And I don't know if this was the worst day in 37 years. I mean, it feels like it was. That's my impression. But it's certainly one of the 3 or 4 worst in a long time. My wife at 4:30 was forced to back down our street because people coming the other way and cars cannot pass. I had to go out and I came back at 8 o'clock. I was at the intersection of Monroe and Piedmont. It took me 20 minutes to get to Hill Pine. I witnessed people running across Monroe Drive. Basically, some people partying, people out of their car, out of their cars or out of their, moon roofs in the cars. They were parking in condominium complexes and running into the park. And when I went up Hill Pine, there were at least 50 cars that I could see parked in the utility corridor where the Georgia Power stuff is. So that would have been illegal. I went around. I had the same problem. I got 150 feet down my street and I ran to another car. and they were like all yelling at me, go back, go back. And I said, no, what, I live on this street. Guy gets out of it. I mean, he got out of the car. The passenger rushed at my car, is screaming at me, you got to go back. You got to go back. Ultimately, I found a place where I could sort of pull in. I didn't want to put myself in jeopardy because I tried to accommodate someone years ago when there was a crowded day, but not this chaotic, and ended up getting an offender bender that cost me thousands of dollars. So I'm like, I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy in that way. And the car behind him pulled out into one of my neighbor's driveway and drove down the sidewalk at about 20 or 25 miles an hour. I mean, this was just chaos. And I saw it progress throughout the day. And I feel like it was foreseeable. I'm not sure who's responsible for that, but it was foreseeable. And the idea that if the promoter at 7:45 is freaked out enough that they're pulling the plug, but you can't stop what's happened at that point. Whether they shut down or didn't shut down, it didn't really end then. So them calling it doesn't change anything. If anything, it's just them absolving themselves and recognizing that they've created chaos. And so I just feel like there's a little bit of the city covering up. And I have a question for Ebony at Moe's. You said that what people had done in the past could be a factor. So I want to know, like, will this promoter, will they be banned from getting a permit again? I mean, they clearly misrepresented. They promoted in a way that was going to cause a lot more people to turn out than they were alleging. They made it sound like a relatively small event. And so I don't blame a promoter for the fact that somebody committed a crime, but I do think that the situation was created in a way that it made it foreseeable that something bad like this could happen.
Well, I will say I did meet with two of the vendors that were there. I wanted to know what occurred during their loadout because I saw these vendors posting online, and I wanted to get just feedback on how the loadout happened after they shut down at 7:40, 7:45. I think after listening to some of the vendors, overall, not just this event organizer, today my entire team went to a training with FEMA on crowd control and safety around special events. And although my office does not determine security plans, traffic plans, etc., it was good to get that training, and I thought it was helpful. What I do plan to do is host a couple of trainings, and I've asked for funding in our budget for event organizers to give them some best practices from my own experience. I've been in this role for 13 years. My office has organized and planned Peach Drop for the past 10 years. And we do signature events on behalf of the mayor's office. And I do believe we have some level of expertise around this. So that's one thing that I want to do for the event organizers, because I think a chaotic organized event has a horrible result. And if you do not walk away from an event with good feelings, then you have failed in organizing your event. With that said, I think also in terms of the number of people, they've been at 1,900 and I think 1,900 in 2025, and this year they moved up to 1,999. An application comes in, let's say they do apply. From my perspective as a director, I would be convening fire, possibly the security coordinator, the zone, parks, to get their feedback. Do you believe this event is at this number? By law, I cannot go in, Mr. Boxer, and say, I think you are at 24,000, even though you put 2,000. I've already asked law that over the years. I cannot change myself what they do, but I can talk to the departments. I can talk to the administration. We are discussing it. And I don't know if this applicant will come back, right? But if they do, I'm sure that will be a more finite lens on what they're submitting. And I will, require conversations around this, their sponsors, who they're marketing to. And that's the extent that I can do. So, okay, I see you have questions. I just wanted to get that out.
I'm not, look, this is not directed at you. If your job is to facilitate, I understand that. But you can also go back to your bosses, the people who make the decisions. I mean, there has to be a way. The city has the right to regulate. The city has the right to say no.
Absolutely.
It's like a bar. A bar can say this. They can say this is the hours you can stay open till. This is the hours you can have music till. This is the number of people you can have. You can't have people spilling out on the sidewalk. I mean, there are things that the city can regulate and control. My point is that there's so many things about, first of all, there's so many parks in Atlanta, and it almost all goes to Piedmont Park. Everyone wants Piedmont Park.
Everybody wants Piedmont Park.
And the city could say, we are only going to allow so many events in Piedmont Park, so many events in this park. They could limit the number of events. It's gotten, as someone who's lived in this neighborhood and loves it and doesn't have a problem with events, it's gotten out of control. I mean, it's gotten really bad. Hang on. I just want to make the point that, but you said, my understanding from the chat is that this same promoter is involved in another event in the next, that's the one that was deferred, the music one or something.
No, that's not.
I didn't say that. I'm sorry.
Somewhere it said it in this chat thing.
Okay.
It did say it. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I'm just saying it was in there. So you were saying that you didn't know if they were going to come back.
For this event, yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that the city really has to, you were asked, what would you do differently? I'm not saying what you would do as a facilitator, but I do think you have the ability, at a certain point to start, or the police and the fire and everyone has to be able to look at things and say, based on the history, this event is going to attract more people than they're saying. The mayor's office put out a thing basically implying that there were only a couple of thousand people there, which, and went online. I was on an 11 Alive news story, commenting, saying basically what I said. This is one of the worst days in 37 years. And something horrible happened, and I don't blame the promoter, but I do think they, created an environment. But at the same time, the mayor came on and was like, yeah, they had a proper permit, and, there weren't that many people there. It was unrelated events. People came out to the park because of that event. They may have had their own gatherings, but it was kind of because of that event. And to try and separate them, I think, is a little bit disingenuous of the mayor.
I don't speak for the mayor, Mr. Boxer, so it would be unfair to ask me to comment on anything the mayor said. But what I will say is that this process has been in place for a very long time, and when it is followed, it works. I think that it's very important to mention we may or may not have fire on this call, but fire is the legal department that can determine capacity and how many people can fit in a space. And so we will definitely have fire look at that, as they do every application. And then again, we work very closely with APD. We trust their judgment on everything concerning security, traffic. And we are not in a position where we are public safety experts, Mr. Boxer. And so I just want to make sure that is clear. I am taking in everything that everyone is saying, and I understand. I've been working with this community since I was 24. I am 48, and I've worked in District 6 before, so I understand. But at this point, I think my job on this call is to take your feedback, and report it upward to my superiors, but also make sure that you all understand what the mayor's office of special events, what our role is. And I just want to make sure it's clear.
Guys,
I'm not holding you responsible. I'm saying yes, take it up.
Well, Nicholas and
Sorry.
Ebony, I'm going to cut off this discussion because it's becoming a back and forth, and I don't think we're getting anywhere with it. So, we have one last hand raised, and that's going to be the end of the questioning. Fred
Ehlers.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Fred, go ahead.
I'll make it quick, Debbie. Chief Schierbaum, Fred Ehlers, Morningside Lenox Park. I sat across from you at the table last Wednesday at the mayor's office.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Hey, I just want to reinforce, or I want to punctuate some points that were made earlier on. I've noticed that when we talk from a community standpoint, when we talk to the city about 404 Day, the focus, and understandably so, is within the confines of Piedmont Park. I mean, that's where the shootings happened. Those were tragic. They were major. But Chief, when you do your as you go through your post-event review, I urge you to look as equally as to the impact on the neighborhoods. The Monroe corridor, the Piedmont corridors were in gridlock, and you've heard someone say they were in chaos. I've heard that numerous times. I'll tell you, if there was a fire emergency or a medical emergency during a good portion of the afternoon of the day in question, it would have been a problem. It would have been a huge problem. So please just make sure you're looking at the Monroe corridors and the Piedmont corridor as well.
I will, sir. And I've actually been taking notes. I would encourage you all to continue to email my office, provide video. That helps us get a full clarity of the picture. As you know, with certain events such as Music Midtown and others, there is actually staged tow trucks that are in place. There are ATL Plus that has extra enforcement officers. Additional traffic plans are in place. And so unless we have the full picture of how it impacted each of you on your streets, your neighborhoods, then the plan isn't going to continue to evolve to be as effective as it must be. So please continue to communicate how it occurred, how it affected you, what you saw. Don't assume your police department has the information and the impact on your families and your streets that you saw. Just don't assume that if you can, please.
Great. Well, as I said, that was the last question. I know there's still a couple hands raised, but we do need to move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here very late tonight. Chief Schierbaum, thank you so much for being here tonight. I know you've got a busy schedule, and we very much appreciate your candidness with us. I think we've all learned a lot. And so thank you and Ebony also for giving us a tutorial on how special events are processed in the city. I very much appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome, Debbie, and I appreciate you all caring and engaging your police department, holding us accountable. We're a partner on April 4th and every other day of the year, so please use us. Please engage us, okay?
Well, you can depend on NPU F for feedback.
Very good. Thank you.
That's what we're good at. Thank you. And Alex, thank you for arranging for the chief to be here tonight. Okay. We're going to go back to the agenda tonight. And we've just got a little nit here that we need to wrap up before we move to a text amendment. And that is a review and comment of Mellow Mushroom, which is at 931 Monroe Drive. You all would know that as Monroe Promenade or Midtown Promenade. It's a restaurant. It's a change of ownership, and this is for review and comment only. Does anyone have any comments that they'd like to make regarding this LRB application? I'm not hearing any comments. We don't need to take a vote. Usually when we have review and comment applications from another NPU, this is NPU E, we indicate that we're supporting the home NPU. So I'll go ahead and make that notation. The next item on the agenda is a text amendment. This should also be pretty quick to review. This is an ordinance by, I think it's all of council, to modify the Beltline overlay and district regulations, section 16-36-008, under permitted and prohibited uses and structures that prohibit self-storage facilities within the Beltline overlay district. And just as background, you may recall sometime last fall, we considered legislation which was approved by City Council that prohibited self-storage in certain zoning districts, not every zoning district, that were located within 500 feet of the Beltline corridor became prohibited. And this legislation prohibits self-storage facility in any zoning district when the property is in the Beltline overlay. And for those of you that may not be up to date on what that means, the Beltline overlay is a half mile on either side of the Beltline. Doug, is there anything that you want to add to that?
No, good evening, everybody. Doug Young, MPUF planner, director of the City of Atlanta's also designed for the Department of City Planning. Pretty self-explanatory. So I would just welcome the MPU's comments or suggestions.
Okay, I don't hear or see anything. Is there a motion to do something with this?
I move to support.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, and this is one of those that we need to do a hand vote. So if you're in favor of the motion to support Z2620, which modifies the Beltline overlay and district regulations, please raise your hand. Counting double votes. I see 19 ayes. Let me lower your hands. And if you're opposed to supporting this legislation, please raise your hand. Has everyone voted that wants to vote or cares to vote? Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so that's 19 ayes and 0 nays. Great. Okay, now we are going to the last set of voting items, and these are the special events applications. We do have a few to review. The first one is Showcase Atlanta. It's a Class E event, 1,000 participants in Piedmont Park, July 19th, 2026. And this is your opportunity, now that you've learned about how the special events applications are processed, to ask lots of questions. So I'm expecting lots, but if you don't have any, I have a few. So, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this. Oronike?
It's Orenike. Hi, how are you?
Okay, thank you for correcting me. You want to tell us what Showcase Atlanta is about?
Yes, and it appears that you have the original application that the city put in to hold the date and not the amended application that I, as the event producer, submitted as a 20,000 person event. So to give you all the updated information, Showcase Atlanta is an initiative by the mayor's office to promote Atlanta business, life, and culture. This event will be titled the Peach Pitch viewing party, and it is on Sunday, July 19th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And this is going to be a viewing party for the very last match of the World Cup. So we will have food trucks, vendors, all which will be Metro Atlanta businesses that we're promoting, mostly local and cultural performances on stage. We're partnering with different radio stations who will have, blocks of time where they will have some talent out there and some of their DJs performing. We will show the match. I believe the match is at 3 p.m. So from 3 to 5, we will show the match. And then we will have a headlining performance at the end of the night that is still being negotiated. So when I received the invite to appear, I thought that they had already submitted to you all the amended application that shows security and all the things that need to be in an application. But if you all don't have that, please let me know how you'd like to proceed.
Your event's not until July. Would you consider deferring your application until we get the new one?
Sure, that's fine. Do you need me to email it to you or?
Pardon?
Do you need me to send it to you or will the city process send it to you?
I can check with Daniel. He's the one that supplies us with our applications. And if he's not able to get it to us in a timely way, I'll copy you.
Okay, sure. Then I have no problem deferring.
Okay, thank you for your flexibility. We don't normally do that. The application that we had was actually said NPU L in District 3. Has the location changed?
It's in Piedmont Park. I didn't submit the original one, so I'm not sure, what they put or if they got confused about which NPU or all that stuff. But the amended one that I submitted for them on their behalf has the correct NPUs on it.
Okay, that's good to know. Adeline?
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. In light of the 404-day kerfuffle, could we request that the applicant have a traffic control plan included as a part of the resubmitted application, even though it's not necessarily mandatory?
Sure. Let me actually look because I might have put one in here. I'm sorry, I'm actually producing a few events. No, I know I have a security plan in here.
Yeah, we saw you last month.
Right.
We're going to make you an honorary member of NPU before this is over.
I know. I've got the street lane closures. It doesn't look like I do, but yes, I will add that. And just for your knowledge, we are following kind of similar to the Jazz Fest where we close off the streets that are surrounding the park to just residents so that we don't have kind of the parking and traffic issues for neighbors. So it will be kind of neighbor only parking around that event. But again, we're just the Sunday for the one day, so you don't have to worry about us all weekend long.
Sorry. The Monroe Complete Street project that's going to be taking the cross section down to a 3-lane. If that does get implemented leading up to this event, I think an officer at Worcester and Monroe would be very helpful to make sure that all of Monroe does not back up when the parking deck starts filling up.
Got you. Yep. And we're working with APD now, obviously with the events of 404-day and just everything. They are definitely crossing their T's, dotting their I's and stuff. So we'll be reviewing that full kind of traffic plan and security plan as well to make sure that we're well covered.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So do I need to send you another list of our street closings, or do you have
Nope,
that?
I still have that one. Yep, I still have it.
Okay, and that was the same list that this is for the group that I used for the Atlanta Dogwood Festival. So if anyone has any concerns about their streets, either being on the list or not being on the list, please let me know so that I can update it for the big events that come in September and October and through the rest of the year. Dion, you got a question?
Yes, so the plan that's on the agenda is incorrect. Is that what you're saying? The security plan? It says
Correct.
for post
Correct.
certified off-duty officers for 20,000 people.
The original application they sent said 1,000 people, so that's why they had 4. But for my 20,000, yes, obviously that's a different number.
It has 20,000 on this application.
Oh, so you do have the corrected one.
I'm looking at the first page says 20,000 people. Total attendance figure, it says 20,000, but on the security page, it only says 4. Let me get back down to that. Number of post-certified off-duty law enforcement personnel hired for. Are you hiring additional security from a private security company? It says no.
Yeah, no, that's the original application that was submitted. That is the incorrect one. So I don't know what the difference there was because I didn't really look through the incorrect one. I just did a correct one. But that's the incorrect application.
So we'll get this straightened out one way or another, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for
Debbie,
sitting through our meeting.
Do you need a motion to defer it?
Nope, we're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
Next item is joining hearts. This is, I learned today that the applicant wants to defer till the May meeting, which is next month. Are there any objections to deferring this application? He did let us know in advance. If there's no objections, then that's what we'll do. We'll defer it. All right, the next is, let's see, we've already deferred one, Music Fest. That's one of the biggies. The next application is PT Beats. You might recall that we previously supported this application in December of 2025. They're not required to come to the NPU F meeting because of the quirky special events ordinance, which says they only have to come to one meeting. PT Beats has changed their event dates. This is a gated event at Park Tavern from May to October 31st to November 11th. So are there any concerns or objections to the date change? Everything else stays the same.
Can you clarify? It says October 31st to November 11th. Is this a 12-day event?
No, I can't.
And it'll now be a Halloween event, I assume?
I don't know.
Get clarification, please, Deb.
That was also my question.
Yeah.
It went from a 2-day event to a 10-day event, 12-day event.
Can someone open up the application and see if there's a typo on the sheet? It's been one of those weeks for Debbie.
Let's see.
Yes, I looked on, this is Jennifer Hansen, sorry.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
On the actual application itself, it is just two days. The application says that event day 1 is Friday, October 30th. Event day 2 is Saturday, October 31st. And dismantle is on Sunday, November the 1st. So that's 11/1/26.
Okay, so when I picked this information up, it was kind of confusing on the documentation that was sent to me. So Jennifer.
Yes, it's I opened up it's on the very first page, general information.
And setup starts on the 28th. Setup is the 28th and the 29th.
Right, okay. go to like the fourth page, which is the first page of the actual application that the applicant fills out, and see what they say there.
I think that's what's appearing here. It says page 4 of 29, and it's handwritten in.
Okay, so it's 2 days, 10:30 and 11:01.
10:30 and 10:31.
And 10:31. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make some comments here. Asking the question if it's a Halloween event, to confirm it's a 2-day event.
Just knowing that there's going to be more kids and families out on the streets on those days.
Yep, I get that. And there is action on that application. I think on page 4, it was I had to do the calculation on how many people were expected. It said 900, one said 909, one said 99, the other one said like 9,999 for the second day.
Yeah, it says total 999, but it has the comma in the wrong place. And then it says day 2 is 9,999.
Okay. I think I may have to call Paul Smith to get some clarification.
Yeah, I think this just has typos all over it.
Yeah, it does say that the peak attendance is going to be 9,999, and the total looks like they just left off that last 9. That's the so it's I think they're just trying to get under the 10,000.
Well, okay, so the way these application works is that the attendance, the number of participants, is a total of each day that the festival is operating. So in this case, we would need an attendance number for day 1 and an attendance number for day 2, with them indicating that the peak attendance would be the 9,999, but we don't know what the peak number will be for day 1.
Well, my suspicion is that it's a typo.
Oh,
That
right.
it is also 9,999.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, but it's
it has to be confirmed.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to make one request. And I hope this, and I'm sorry I'm coming on 15 years late, y'all, but with kids at Midtown, they have a start setup time at 8 o'clock on Wednesday and Thursday. That is car line. And so what frequently happens is they bring in all those trucks. And now, since it's only 2 lanes, it blocks off car line and all of the traffic coming up and down 10th, and they bring semis in. So if they can just wait till 8:30 when school starts for every event, that would be great.
Okay, I will also make that note.
And that's like a standing request for everyone, because they come in and no one can get to school, no one can get to work. And now with them doing the Monroe Street stuff too, it's going to clog up stuff even more.
Yeah, we usually mention that to the large events, but these smaller ones-ish don't always get the right attention. So thank you for reminding me about that. Okay, any other comments? If not, is there a motion? Someone want to make a motion? We supported it back in December.
I'll move to support.
Okay, is there a second?
I have a question. We're doing this with the incomplete
application, the new date
and numbers.
Okay, so
that is my question too.
This, yeah, this one's tricky. The NPU has already supported the application, and I don't recall any of the discussion that went along with it.
But if it's not accurate, if the numbers aren't right, why are we supporting it?
With the March date, it's a different date now. It's October. So they supported a different date.
Yeah, it was a May date.
Next month.
So the request and the reason why it's on the agenda is because they changed the date for the event. And I can't guarantee this, but I think that it's actually the same application.
Why not just defer, and because it's plenty of time to decide for October?
Yeah, and let them clean it up and come back.
Okay. Well,
But also, did they not make an effort to come tonight?
Well, they weren't required to.
Or to submit a clean application.
Yeah, they may not be required to, but if they want to, we are an NPU that's adjacent to the park. It's good form.
Well, it is, but it.
I know that's opinion. I got it.
You heard Ebony.
I did. I heard Ebony.
Well, I mean,
I hear you, but I just want to let you know this is a gated park event. I don't permit these.
Hello. When we speak, we raise our hands at NPU F. Please don't annoy me. It's 9:30 and I start to get a little snippy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard my name, but I don't see where I can raise my hand.
No, you're okay, Ebony. Kate, you had your hand up before I got snippy. Did you have a comment that you wanted to make?
I was just going to point out that we were all chattering at once and not observing our own policy, and that we had a motion on the floor that we could have just voted down, but we'll let that go and move on.
Right. If we did vote it down, then we would need to give reasons why we didn't support the change in the date. But we do have a bunch of questions about the application, and I've made notes there, and more than happy to talk to Paul Smith, who is the event organizer and has come to our NPU multiple times because he's been the director at Park Tavern, and he's pretty responsive to neighbor concerns. So what do y'all want to do? We had a motion made, but no second. What is the sense of the body? And David Law?
I would say we would need a second on the motion, then we can vote on it, turn it down, make another motion to defer it to next month until we get more information.
If someone's inclined to second this.
I will second the motion.
Okay, David. So the motion on the floor is to support the change in dates for the PT Beats event, which has been changed. The new dates are, just for clarity, October 30th to October 31st. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
I'm sorry, can I ask for clarification? Are we voting to approve the change in dates?
Well, that's the request that's been made of the NPU to approve the dates.
And that's what I just want to make sure what the motion is that we're voting on. Are we going to approve the change? That's the vote?
That's the vote. But remember, we did have a question about whether or not this is a Halloween event. And because of the change in dates, it gets us out of, back in May, school is winding down, so it's not quite as the same as being held during the school year. So those would be the two reasons why we would have concerns about the change in dates.
So this is a process question. If we vote it down now, do they have to reapply?
No.
Like I just.
No, remember, we're only making a recommendation. We can't.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. If you're in favor of the motion to support, please raise your hand. Okay. We're a little slow here. Okay, has everyone voted that wants to vote and has found their raise your hand icon? Okay, I see 3, 4. Okay, I'm lowering the 4. Okay. If you're opposed to the motion to support the change in dates, please raise your hand. Good job, folks. Okay, 13, 14, 15. I'm counting 15 nays. So, Kay, is that what you're seeing too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So by vote of,
Actually, I'm not a co-host anymore, so I'm not seeing anything, but
oh, okay.
I was just counting pause.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll re-co-host you. By a vote of 4 ayes and 15 nays, the motion does not carry. Is there an alternate motion? Is there another motion?
I'm trying to raise my hand. My hand's already raised. I make a motion that we defer this application till next month to allow the applicant to complete the application and add clarification to our questions.
Second.
And clarification. Okay, and so that was David. And Rich, were you the other person?
His thumbs up.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Everyone understand what we're doing now? Now the motion is to defer this application so that the applicant can complete it and add clarification to our questions. All those in favor of that motion, please raise your hand. And thanks for voting quickly. Oh, shoot, and okay. I'll need to take a minute to add Kay back as co-host because I don't trust me. 21, 22. Okay, I count 22 ayes. And if you're pardon?
Oh, say I counted 22 as well.
Oh, good. Thanks, Marla. I forgot you're still. If you're opposed to the motion to defer, please raise your hand. Okay, Jennifer, just for clarity, you're voting to not defer the application.
That's correct.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that, like a hand didn't go up that didn't mean to, because sometimes that happens. Okay, by a vote of 22 ayes and 1 nay, that motion carries. And that's how we will report it back to Mose on the form that I fill out. Thank you. Well, that was fun. The next application is the AFSP Atlanta Out of Darkness Community Walk. That's a Class E 2000 participant event in Piedmont Park in the Meadow on November 1st, 2026. And this also includes, in addition to the outdoor event, a 1.8 walk inside the park. Is the applicant present? That's Christine Curtin. Is the applicant that's on the form? Sorry for the noise. My cat's gone crazy. She's chasing a bug. Okay, I don't see the applicant. So I will report that the applicant did not appear. Nicholas, you've got a question, a comment?
I was just curious, isn't November 1st the day that they would be breaking down this other one? Does that affect them in any way?
Well, that's a good
They
question.
now overlap. I just wanted to point that out.
Yep, and that happens. The overlap is, the other event is the gated event that's in Park Tavern, and this one's in the Meadow. And it's a little bit smaller. So when the applicant comes, if they come, then well, we should ask them the question and how they're going to deal with that. Dion, do you have a question?
Yeah, although they are two different areas, one at Park Tavern and one at the park, I just looked at the running path. Again, where they set up and where they break down is the same spot for both of those events. So, to the other gentleman's point, it's down to one lane. And at this time, they're going to be doing construction onto Monroe. So I think all applications through the Monroe diet and just with more congestion, we need to be more thoughtful about, and maybe there needs to be mandatory more security in the roads.
Okay, point taken.
And I just want to say that shouldn't fall on APS and Midtown to pull officers to do the job of these events, which is happening.
Oh, I know. I know. Thank you. Okay, the last event is the Piedmont Holiday Market 2026. This is a Class C event, 1,000 participants in Piedmont Park. The address is Charles Allen and Park Drive, November 28 and 29. Is the applicant present?
He's here.
Randall, are you here?
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay, great. Good to see you, and thank you for being on camera.
No worries.
So do you want to tell us about your event?
Yeah, sure. This is the 5th annual Piedmont Park Holiday Handmade Market. It is Thanksgiving weekend. We are at the we like to call it the Charles Allen Triangle. It's a small event. We have about 100 artists. We have, I think, 2 food trucks, 1 hot chocolate truck, beer, wine, and spirits. It is Saturday from 10 to 5, Sunday from 11 to 5. Last year we experienced mostly rain, so the attendance was pretty small. And it was cold. Actually, it was really cold. It was the coldest rain I think I've ever experienced. It was like brutally cold. What else can I tell you?
While you're thinking, can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, go for it.
I think I saw in your application, I've looked at many this week, so I apologize if this is actually coming from someplace else. But I think your application said that there would be dancing?
No.
No? Okay.
But you're welcome
Debbie,
to.
you're correct. Debbie, it does say dancing and music.
We'll have music. We always have like a DJ. We always have music.
You have a big
we
old check
Christmas
mark right in
music.
there in dancing.
We have Christmas music playing, and we try and have a Santa Claus.
Okay. And also in your application, you said that you're going to have 125 tents, and then I guess the food trucks for 1,000 participants.
Yeah.
That math really isn't mathing for me. That's not very many participants in each that would going to each vendor.
Well, I'd love to have more, but like I said, last year it was probably one of the coldest weekends we've ever had. It was brutally cold.
So do you have any contingency plans in case that there are more than?
Yeah, we have additional officers on staff. We have 3 officers that are on site. We have 1 at Charles Allen, 1 at Park Drive, and we have a roaming officer. And this is our 5th year. Again, we are dependent upon families walking through the park for Thanksgiving.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, and we have done a lot of your events, as you know. How do you count participants?
It's done in a grid section, actually. So what you can do is at any one time, you can take a section of the park and count the number of people in that section and then estimate it out over the course of the event.
Okay. So. Okay, so when I said the math wasn't mathing.
How are you basing the math?
Okay, so I'm taking 125 tents, and that's all I'm counting, not the food trucks, times 2 because it's a 2-day event, and I'm dividing that into 1,000 participants, and I'm coming up with 4 people per tent.
And as I said, last year on Sunday, we even closed early. In fact, I think we closed at like 1 on that day because it was a cold rain. So we based it on our previous attendance.
Right. Well,
I think if you had attended the event, you would have noticed that too as well.
Okay, well, I was doing chemo back then, so I wouldn't have been able to.
But again, I was there. So
right now, I
based
understand.
on
I'm just trying to understand your process because we really haven't had this conversation before.
Okay.
So there are some hands raised. Let me go down the list.
I'm here.
David?
I get that last year it was a bad weather event. So if you've been doing it for 4 years, what was it for the years before that? Because last year isn't really a good indication for estimating crowds.
The same, less than 2,000 people. Again, we're dependent upon folks walking through the holidays.
So you're expecting 2,000 people for 125 vendors. I mean, I've walked through that festival and it's more than that.
Multiple years.
Great. Thanks for attending.
Yeah, it just
You're welcome.
again.
It's a nice event. I'm not objecting to the event, but the numbers don't. I agree with what she's saying. The math doesn't math.
Okay, thank you for the comment.
Thank you.
Rich Sussman?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what the attendance was in those other years. Obviously we have no control over the weather. Well, yes, we do. But 4 years ago when the weather was better, you're saying you had about 1,000 people per day. Is that correct?
No, I didn't say that.
You said 2,000 people.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, what was your attendance in 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago? Do you know?
I can't remember. I do about 25 events through the course of the year.
Okay. Dion?
So when you're filling out this application, you said it's based on previous years, but you don't have those figures now for us to tell us. I mean, you can understand that we have some concerns about appropriate numbers and appropriate staffing, as well as with what's going to be going on with Monroe. So you have no idea what those numbers are. Or could you look them up on your computer of your events and tell us, since we're talking about this event?
On my computer right now with the Zoom. And no, again, like I said, it's been a relatively small event. We're lucky to be able to host it. We're dependent upon the folks that are walking through the park on Thanksgiving weekend. So if the weather's great, then, our attendance may be a little bit more. If the weather's bad, our attendance is less. Last year, I can tell you for a fact that our attendance was bad because it was cold and it was, like I said, it's probably some of the coldest rain I've ever experienced, and we closed early.
Right,
So we're basing on that. So let me finish. So based on that, I'm sorry? So based on that, we staff accordingly and are prepared for that.
So you're staffing to, just for clarification, you are staffing to an event that you said was poorly attended with rain. That's what you're staffing to last year's?
No, that's not what I said. We always staff more than what we were required to have. As I said, I have 3 officers. I'm not required to have 3 officers. We have 3 officers. We always staff more and prepare for more as a contingency plan in the event our attendance is more. I'm required to have a set number of porta potties. I always have more. I'm required to have a set number of officers. I always have more.
Okay.
I'm not required to have, let me finish. I'm not required to have 911, but I have an EMT and an RN on staff. We always prepare for more so that we're prepared in the event that the attendance is greater than we anticipate.
And last question, how will you be promoting this event? I can't read some of the handwriting. I apologize. So I don't know if that's on here, but how are you promoting this event? Or
Social
how
media.
I'm sorry?
Social media.
Okay. And is this a mayor's event as well? He's going to promote to families and whatnot?
I can't speak for the mayor, and
Okay,
I
I
wouldn't.
didn't know if this was a partnership like the last event, the 404 event. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Dion. Nicholas Boxer.
Just quick comment. It just seems like you can't, I don't know. It's like frustrating to hear you're planning based on last year's bad conditions. If you knew it was going to be bad conditions, you probably wouldn't redo it. It's like you shouldn't plan based on the worst case scenario. I think you got to plan based on the best case scenario. Is difficult. If you're over providing officers, hang on, let me just finish. If you're over providing officers and other resources, then that would line up with stating a higher number of people. Why don't you just do that, and then everyone's okay?
I'm sorry, was that a question?
Well, I'm saying, yeah, why wouldn't you just say 5,000 people and we're providing enough officers and whatever for 5,000 people? Why would you say it doesn't really, I also agree, the math doesn't really add up. If four people attend each tent, then why would anyone participate?
And again, what I'm telling you is that we're preparing in the event that there is more people, and that's not an acceptable answer. So I can't give you both.
Do we have a guarantee of your over preparing? Is that in writing somewhere that we can count on that? Or are you just saying I over prepare? I'm just saying there's so many problems we're having lately besides 404 with how our neighborhood is being overwhelmed, that when people lowball, it frustrates me.
And I'm with you. I'm a big fan of Piedmont Park and hosting events in Piedmont Park. And I agree that there's a lot of events in Piedmont Park. But one of the things that I pride myself on is the fact that we go above and beyond. We are part of the community. And if I'm required to have 2 officers, I'll have 4. If I'm required to have 4 porta potties, I'll have 8. If I'm required to have 911, I'll have an EMT and an RN, which I just said. We over prepare in the event that our attendance is greater than what we're anticipating. So if I have a Class C event, I'm prepared for a larger event in the event that our attendance is greater than we anticipate, because we are in a public park and because we're in Piedmont Park. We're being very, very respectful of the park and the circumstances that may occur.
And that's why I'm simply asking, then why not just state the larger number of people that comports with the number of resources you're giving? Because otherwise you're just saying you give more. I don't know if it's in writing.
Nicholas, I'm not sure we're going to get into any different.
Do you understand what I'm saying? At least somebody, if
Yeah.
he's saying,
I think
he's saying we're prepared for a 5,000 person festival, we're going to have the resources for that. Then why not say you're having a 5,000 person festival so we know we have the resources for that?
I hear that and I understand it, and
okay.
Message is received. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Justin Martirano.
So, Mr. Fox, what lessons have you learned from the 404 festival that you plan to apply for this event?
Let's be clear, a couple things. For not the promoter, I was not the permit applicant, nor was I the permit holder at all. So, the circumstances were unfortunate. I completely agree. I think there were a lot of events that occurred that particular day, that it was a perfect storm as far as everything landing in Piedmont Park. We've been very successful in our events in Piedmont Park over the last 20 years. So we'll continue going forward as we have in the past. Again, I can't be any more clear. I am not the promoter for that event for 404 days. I know there's a lot of speculations. There's a lot of rumors. I've been reading the chat. I'm not the promoter. I wasn't the permit holder for that event. It's unfortunate. But our team works very well, very quickly on events that occur. We communicate very effectively for events with security and staffing and everything. So, it's unfortunate, but for people to speculate or rumor that I was a promoter, they're inaccurate.
Okay, I mean, I think this would be a great opportunity for you to clear up any misunderstandings. So are you saying you are not affiliated in any way with the event?
No, I didn't say that. I advised him on the number of porta potties he was required to have, where he could place his dumpster, the components of that particular event. But I was not the promoter. I was not the permit holder. When I learned that he had rented the Greystone facility from the Conservancy, that he had rented the Magnolia Hall from the Conservancy, and they gave him dockside, we advised him to have additional security for there. So that event was not mine. I know people are looking for someone to blame. I know people, I understand the community's angry. I get it. I was equally as disappointed as everybody else at what occurred. It's tragic and it should not have occurred. I was out on 85 South when the traffic was stopped and kids were dancing on 85 South. 404 Day was not my event. So let's be clear on that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, okay. Thank you for
I
that.
know everyone's been waiting all night. I've read this. I've read the chat. I've heard it. That's not my event.
I think you've made your point, Randall. Thank you. Did you have any other questions, Justin?
I think that says it all.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer Hansen.
Hi, thank you. Let me start my video too as well. My question is, because I think there's a lot of confusion. What I'm hearing from the NPU questions and discussion is there's some uncertainty about nailing down an exact number. What I want to try and find a way forward for you, because I think that's what's frustrating a lot of people. So Randall, regardless of what we think, how the form should be filled out, let me ask you about the event itself. Is there anything different about this event than in previous years in terms of how you are setting it up, who you're promoting it to? Like, is this really the same event, just the next year? And I understand the difference between whether it may affect attendance or whatever. But I guess what I'm saying is, I feel like that this particular event, I have not experienced any issues with the amount of crowd control and whatnot, whether or not the number matches. But I guess what I'm saying is, I want to know, is this the same? Because I can't tell from the numbers you're not able to provide vocally. Like you can't go back and tell me what they are because you just don't have that with you. But just as a promoter, can you tell me, or the permit holder, can you tell me that this event is the same event from year to year, and that you are not making any changes in the way that it's being promoted or who you are expecting to attend? As you said, it sounds like you're not over promoting it. So that's what I'd like to know, because it's an estimate. I understand that, and we're not going to be able to nail that down to everybody's satisfaction. But the question for me is the event the same? And if so, then I feel like that gives me enough information to help me vote.
Yes, ma'am. This event hasn't changed in 5 years, which is why we continue to do it. So I appreciate your question on that. It hasn't changed. It's the same event. It's a low-key family event. Folks walking in the park on Thanksgiving weekend. Oh, look, there's a little artist market, handmade holiday market that's going on. It's fun. It's actually a big surprise for people walking in the park. So I appreciate you asking that question. Before I go, in the comments, I can't read the name, Devon Malik. I'm going to repeat myself, and I'm going to do it one last time. I am not the promoter for 404 Days. I am not the permit holder for 404 Days. Yes, my name is listed on there for contact information. I advised him where to put the porta potties, where to get the dumpster, and what his requirements were. So you can flip it any way you want, but it doesn't change the facts. I am not the permit holder for 404 Days. So let's be clear on that, because I'm tired of it coming up.
Okay, thank you. Adeline?
Yeah, just a quick question. Hey, Randall. I've actually attended for 2 years, and has been a lovely event. So I was wondering if you have, what does the pipeline look like? Are you going to have the same vendors as before? Are you growing the amount of vendors compared to previous years?
That's a great question. Sorry. It's 10 o'clock. And that's going to get louder. No, actually, not attendees, but vendors, artists are down this year. I think it's because of all the chaos that's going on. I not systemically have looked at it nationwide as far as promoters and individuals who attract artists, and I think that numbers are down. So if I get 100, I'd be lucky. I'm probably looking more closer at 75. I know my previous events, we have not been hitting our mark. So I don't anticipate 100. Probably 75 would be the goal.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and thank you, Adeline. And Catherine?
Yes, thank you. When you promote this to the vendors, what does your marketing materials suggest to them that you're expecting as the attendance?
We don't. We never give out attendance to people like that because we can't speculate on it. And it's not fair to them.
In my experience, vendors generally want to know if you're expecting 100 people or 1,000 people. I mean, that's a common question. You never give them any information on how many people you're expecting?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. That's the end of the hands raised. If there are no more questions, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to decline.
Okay, the motion is to decline or not support. That was Justin. Is there a second? We need
I'm a second. I'll second that.
Okay. Give me a minute to get your names down. Okay. So the motion's been made and properly seconded. The motion is made by Justin and seconded by Christine Dunham to not support the Piedmont Holiday Market event, November 28, 29 in Piedmont Park. All those in favor of the motion not to support, please raise your hand. Jersey, no. Okay, then looks like the numbers have stopped changing. So that is, let me make sure. 10. I see 10 eyes. I'm going to lower your hands. If you're opposed to the motion to not support, please raise your hand. Jersey, stop. She's trying to get into a Chewy box. Sorry. So I count 9. If everyone's voted that wants to vote. Oh. Now I'm counting 10. If you're going to vote, please raise your hand. Okay. So here, this is where we stand right now. The motion does not carry because there is not a majority of votes, 10 ayes and 10 nays. So is there an alternate motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to support the event. I mean, I like the event. I don't like how this is it's being dealt with, but I support the event. So
I second.
Thank you.
Yeah, I raised my hand, but I would second too.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
I just, because I raised my, can I just comment? I
Yeah.
agree. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
No, you can. Go ahead.
Okay,
But
I just want to agree with that statement. I don't like the way the applicant has represented himself. I don't have a problem with the event. I just wish it was a little more respectful. That's it. And I voted no on the previous motion. So
that's we're good since okay. Excuse me while I do something with my cat. Okay, so a motion's been made and it's been seconded to support the Piedmont Holiday Market for 2026. I think we've probably had enough conversation about it. So those in favor of the motion to support, please raise your hand. Twelve, 13, 14. Okay. I'm seeing 14 ayes. Okay, I'm going to lower your hands. If you're opposed to the motion to support, please raise your hand. Okay, that's 10 nays. So by a vote of 14 ayes and 10 nays, the motion does carry. And as I do for all reports back to Mose, I will include our comments and concerns since this was a fairly close vote. And the primary content, the comment will be concerns about the number of participants and how it's reflected in the infrastructure on the application. That's not to say that you're not going to provide extra resources, but the application itself is not conclusive. And Randall, before you
First, thanks everybody.
okay, thank you. Before you drop off, you do have a festival, the Fall Festival on Ponce, which is a review and comment because someone thinks that it's adjacent to NPU F. This event is actually an NPU N. And I've got two comments about your application. One is the handwriting was really hard to read. So could you be a little bit better about maybe writing slower when you fill out the application so we can get all the details? Thank you. And then the other thing is that it mentions a street closure on Ponce de Leon.
Yep.
Are you actually closing the main street, Ponce?
No, there's a Ponce that runs parallel to it.
South Ponce.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your application's not correct.
We've closed that same road for 15 years.
No, I'm not saying that's
And actually, we don't even close that road. It becomes a one-way.
okay. And what I'm saying is it's not a problem that it's closed. I don't care if it's closed or not. But on your application, it doesn't have S in front of it, South Ponce de Leon. So just looking at the application, you go, oh, damn, the big street Ponce is going to be closed. And there was only one officer for traffic control. So that was kind of like a little red flag for me.
I don't think the city would allow me to close Ponce, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think they would either. But I'm just on a tear right now.
And I wouldn't. I'm more respectful of the neighborhood than that.
Well, I understand that, but I just want to make sure the applications are correct. Because
I'm
as
good.
you can see, folks do read them.
Yep.
Okay, and are there going to be amusement rides?
For where?
I don't know, it's on your application, that's what it was checked.
We have inflatables.
Oh, okay. Like a bouncy house?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and then the same comment about the number of tents for the number of people that you're anticipating?
We held an event there this last weekend. Attendance was down. It may have been because of the Masters. It may have been because Dogwood was happening. It may have been because the weather was perfect. Who knows? But attendance was down.
Right, no, I understand that once again, though, the math's not mathing, so
All right.
from a review. Does anyone else have any questions for for Randall while we've captured him for the evening?
Y'all been waiting.
We have, but we're trying to be respectful because that's NPU F. That's
Me
how.
too. And I appreciate it. But guys, it was terrible. Terrible thing that happened. Terrible. But I think it was a perfect storm. I really do. I mean, I got stuck on 75 because people decided to park their car and dance in the interstate.
Okay, Dion, do you have any, your hands raised, so I just want to make sure you don't have any comments.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is my first time to engage on this topic. I don't know what you've experienced before tonight. I understand that you may be under a lot of heat. But just remember that we're coming here for the first time to speak to you about the events. And we're looking for collaboration in our community, and the energy you're pushing off right now is not really the energy that I think a lot of us are feeling. How Debbie announced at the beginning of the meeting some of the decorum, and I would just say that it appears that you do many events, and I know you do. We've got to work together, right? So I hope that we can, from, you know, a tragedy that happened is an understatement, and we're expressing concerns and have questions because we want to be proactive in the process. And I think that requires collaboration from people. And I don't know where you live. You could live down the street from me, that live in the community. And I appreciate, Debbie, you giving me time. But I hope that's, somebody wrote that we need to hold all event promoters more accountable. We do. I mean, my kids are at Midtown every single day. I live in Cumberland. It's just getting more congested and more people. We have to work together and maybe a little bit different. And I hope we can.
I agree with you on that. If I can comment, I 100% agree with you on that. And I think it's unfortunate that some promoters who have seen or used Piedmont Park and say, oh, I can do something there, and then they don't do a great event, reflects on the rest of us. Sure, my energy probably has been off, and I apologize for that, but I've been sitting here reading the comments in the chat. And, frankly, it started before the meeting started. So I was like, come on, guys. There's a question of benefit of the doubt. 404 wasn't my event, and I get the fact that everyone's upset and want someone to blame, but I'm not the guy. Before we go, you say this because the one thing you've been talking about all night is Monroe. As an event person, I have been instructed by Parks and Rec, and I want you to be clear on this. You can reach out to me. There is a section of Piedmont Park that they told us we cannot use. That being said, it would divert our load-in traffic into the neighborhood. And I have asked for clarification on that. Because we have always avoided the neighborhoods for load-in, especially Park Drive. So if someone wants to reach out to me for that or reach out to Parks for clarification on that, the way that they have mandated we can't use that section, it would force us to use Park Drive versus another gate. one of the things that I pride myself in is the fact that we have always stayed out of the neighborhoods for our load-ins. And we've been very respectful about that. We've always tried to have a minimal impact. And with this change, that would force us into the neighborhood.
And can you tell us?
I'm sorry, just to clarify, are you suggesting that Midtown High School, the second largest high school in Atlanta, isn't part of the neighborhood or community?
No, I'm never suggested that. I'm saying that the Parks Department has mandated that we cannot use a section of the park. So that would change our site map, and that would force us to change our load-in.
Right.
And can you tell us what section of the park that is?
Yeah, it's the top loop of the pond.
Oh, okay.
So instead of putting tents and things up there and loading it through, say, 14th Street, we would have to load it through Park, which we've always avoided because we don't want to be in the neighborhood.
Well, and we don't want you either, but I will tell you that some of the Piedmont Park Conservancy events do use Park Drive to go in, or they have used it to go in. So I guess I'll have to do a little research on that too.
Yeah, that's the two gates that we try and avoid at all costs are Charles Allen and Park Drive. Park Drive being our priority.
Right. And we appreciate that very much because it is a narrow street. Okay, guys. Jennifer, last comment so that we can move on because it's getting late and I'm getting snippier.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I just, again, I feel like the elephant in the room is Mr. Fox has repeated that he was not involved with the 404 event and was just an advisor, and everything's everybody looking at documents in the chat, they keep throwing up documents that show his name was on the permit. I went back to look at the minutes for the approval of that. It was on the consent agenda in December of 2025, and so then it was listed as Randall Fox. Did we not require someone to be in attendance in that meeting? And who was it? Because I can't tell from the minutes.
Okay, so
it was on the consent agenda.
It was
on so it was on the so Mr. Fox, were you there?
There was a woman at the meeting named Jennifer that said she was speaking for Randall Fox at the meeting. I went back to check that because we were asked. So I can give you the time marker. I will put that in the chat.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hughes, I believe, or Jennifer with an H, it sounds like, that says she was representing Randall Fox.
Okay.
And it was
thank
on
you.
consent.
Okay, thank you.
Again, also we just advise how many porta potties, where's the dumpster go? What time can you load in, that type of thing. That's it.
Okay. No, that's I just was what is in our record. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Tom Schwab.
Yeah, Debbie, just the only reason I would speak up is in regards to the last question. I chaired that meeting where the festival was approved, and I believe it was consent. And the recordings are posted up on YouTube if it's not in the minutes, so we can actually watch that video if I remember posting it. So it's up there in public domain if anyone wants to see who was attending.
That's how we roll. So we have not had this kind of robust discussion with any of our special events for a long, long time. And I purposely kept the smaller events off the agenda, consent agenda this month so that we can hone those skills so that because it's important for us to pay attention to the details. And if there's no objections, I'll continue to do that for probably through the summer so that we have an opportunity to talk to the event organizers, give you an opportunity to learn who they are, what their personality might be, how cooperative they seem as part of the process. And at some point, I'm going to be looking for some help in reviewing these applications because we get a ton of them, probably 100 a year, and you only see a fraction of them because we also receive assembly applications that don't show up on our agenda. So Um, I just wanted to make sure everyone understood what's coming down the pike. I have one other special events to talk about. This is not on the agenda, but Marla asked me about the tacos and tequila event that is a Piedmont Park Conservancy event. You all will remember that last year it was a cluster, and we worked with the Conservancy and the applicant to come up with some criteria for the event. I was not able to get an application, but I was able finally today to get a response about the event. And Doug Widener sent me an email today that said that Tacos and Tequila is a smaller footprint this year and will only be in the promenade. They thought they would submit for Legacy Fountain as well, but they both missed the cutoff and then decided to scale back. So this will not require NPU review. That said, we are committed to the measures we put into place last year after the unacceptable noise, and we'll be sending out those under separate cover this week with all of our Promenade Festival dates. Stay tuned for that later this year. Now, because this is a Piedmont Park Conservancy event, I will not be sending an emergency no parking street list to them. I haven't quite figured out exactly how to do this, but I do have the agreement that was made with the Conservancy and with Tacos and Tequila. If anyone's interested in seeing them, let me know. Send me an email because I may not catch it in the chat. The chat's been flooded today, and it's not always easy to find those requests. But just send, and I'll be more than happy to share those with you. Marla, does that? I don't even know if Marla's still on the call. Marla, does that answer any of your questions? Oh, there you are.
Yes, thank you. I'm here. Yes, thank you for looking into that. I'll probably follow up offline because I don't know what number he is envisioning, but it's being advertised on social media as for 10,000 people.
Oh,
So
I did see that it in the agreement that it would be limited to 3,000.
okay, I'll follow up. We'll follow up offline
Okay,
after this
and
meeting.
let's bring Doug into the conversation as well.
Yep.
Yeah, he knows we're unhappy campers right now.
Okay, thank you.
And he was at the meeting last week with APD. So, you know, he's got his radar on.
Great, thank you.
That's it for special events.
Deb, I'm going to sign off in a second. Thanks, everybody. But if you guys have like a traffic plan, you said, I just heard you say emergency street signs. I'm not familiar with your all's preferred traffic plan or emergency no parking signs. If you want to forward that to me for my file, I'll be happy to make sure I'm aware of it.
Oh, okay.
You know, again, whatever I can do to help, I'm there.
Okay. I do send it to Class A and B events that bring in lots and lots of people, but I'm more than happy to share with you.
Yeah, whatever I can do on my end. Just so I'm familiar with it, then that way we can help institute it.
You know, one of our biggest concerns, and I'm sure you realize this, are the streets that are west of Monroe that are adjacent to the park.
Uh-huh.
When Monroe is backed up, those folks have no way in or out. So that's true for 5Ks, for walks that close down Monroe Drive. It is a cluster for them.
We tell everybody to avoid it altogether. But if you can send it to me, I'll be happy to put it in my file.
Yeah, and if they could avoid it by taking MARTA or the Beltline, that would be even better.
That's what we told.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you.
I'm out.
We'll get that in the mail in the next couple days.
Thanks. I'm going to sign off. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Always. Bye.
Bye. Okay, planners report, Doug Young.
Hey there, everybody. Doug Young, NPF planner. Also, my day job is director of the City of Atlanta's Office of Design and Department of City Planning. I do have a few quick announcements. Thank you for hanging in there. Um, so these are, key initiatives and some events from the Department of City Planning. So I don't have any voting items to re-review other than what Debbie mentioned previously before in her chair's report. A couple events and processes you should be aware of. The Department of Parks and Recreation is still leading a master plan process to transform 125 acres of the former Atlanta Prison Farm on Key Road into an accessible green space. You can join us to help shape the future of this site. The next meeting of that public engagement process will be at the Roselle Fan Recreation Center in Southeast Atlanta, April 18th, which should be Friday or Saturday from 10 to 2. It's an open house style format. I will put a link in the chat. It's already in the chat from the beginning of the meeting with more details on that information. This is one of a series of public meetings that have been held in that regard. And then I remind folks that on May 15th, the Department of City Planning and the Atlanta Urban Design Commission is hosting the annual design awards. This event will be at the Old City Council Chambers in City Hall. It is free and open to the public. It's a way of honoring honoring achievements in architecture, adaptive reuse, landscape design, planning, and community-focused development. And there will also be presentations about some of the Office of Design's work, which is the staff that supports the Urban Design Commission's activities. And then just reminding folks that well, now actually this just closed, given that we're in the middle of the month for our MPU, but up until April 8th, the Office of Zoning Development was still requesting comments on the Atlanta Zoning 2.0 draft. That was version 2 of that draft. That comment period has closed. It would have been a week ago today, this past Wednesday, but you can still look at the documents and look at the history of the documents and all that on the project website. Again, a link will be in the chat. And then lastly, as a reminder, the City of Atlanta, our planning department will be updating our permitting process, the online permitting process we use. We will be wrapping up the first phase of that transition this fall, and then phase 2, which will be more different processes, will be focused on spring of 2027. So we'll continue to give you all updates about how that works. It's all still going to be an online platform with be a new portal and et cetera, for folks who can file applications, learn about applications, et cetera, going forward. So those are our announcements. I'm happy to answer any questions folks might have.
Any questions? I know we're winding down. Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
y'all. And as just a quick note again, the links to the announcements are pretty early in the chat, and then my name, phone number, et cetera, is also early in the chat as well.
Great, thank you. But we know where you live, so.
Yes, you know where to find me.
Right. All right, let's do a quick run through for neighborhood and committee reports. Linda Martin Manor, do you have anything? Linda Martin Manor, is Rich still with us?
I don't see him, Debbie.
Okay. Piedmont Heights?
Hey, Debbie, it's Fred. I was talking to Susan, and she would like me to remind everyone that the Piedmont Heights patrol sign distribution is scheduled for Wednesday, April 22nd from 4 to 8 between the Pet Supermarket and Ansley Eye Care.
Thank you. I think I saw that in their newsletter. And Fred, anything, or Marla, anything in Morningside Lennox Park?
Our wine walk is next week, and I think we will all need it after this meeting. So hope to see you there in Morningside Village.
Thank you. Virginia.
When is it, the weekend, Marla? When is that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's Thursday, April 23rd.
Thursday. You're getting the weekend started early.
Yeah.
Virginia Highland. don't think we've got anyone left from Virginia Highland. Okay, Emory in the CDC area. They haven't been coming lately. Druid, Parks, Trees and Environment, Rich.
Yeah, since he's signed off, can I go ahead and do
Oh, yes.
the
Go
Herbert
ahead, Marty.
Taylor?
Yeah, and
So as part of our requirement to go through the city parks design before we take on any major projects or restorations in Herbert Taylor Park, we are here to let neighbors know that we are planning to start, I'm hoping sometime early this summer, a major restoration effort on the hill behind Edmund Park that will involve taking out a number of invasive species. We are hiring a contractor to help us with this because we haven't been able to address all of the park. This is a 2.13 acre slice of the park that we'll be working in. And we will be going through Department of Parks and Design to get DPR approval beforehand. And we're going to apply to the Morningside Community Foundation for funding. And we'll be doing a native plant sale at the Morningside Market, Farmers Market, which will be moving to the Haygood parking lot for April 25th. So the Saturday after the wine walk, if you're not too hungover, come over and buy some native plants to support the park.
excellent. Any questions for Marty? Well, good luck with your project. I read through your presentation and
thank you.
It looks like,
yeah, I figured we didn't need any more presentations tonight.
No, we did. Thank you. Marla, anything in communications you wanted to share?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I probably should have announced this earlier, but we are looking for a volunteer that can help us maintain the NPU F website. What we're really looking for is someone that's really savvy with websites and keeping them up to date. Marla will train if she needs to. Marla, how much time do you think is required for?
Not a lot. It's if you're familiar with WordPress, that would help. I'm not really. So I just click on updates and hope it doesn't break.
Okay.
That sounds like extensive
It sounds
training.
exciting, right? I'm sure everyone's going to line up now.
So if you know like a high school junior or senior that's looking for community service hours, I'm more than happy to sign the forms because I think this is definitely community service. And for someone that's got a teenager that likes to spend a lot of time on his computer, I think this is a great project. The next item is public safety. I will also give that report. We have two co-chairs. Susan Canellis from Piedmont Heights is a co-chair, and Phyllis Wingo, who was the other public safety co-chair, has resigned from that position because of some personal challenges. But she found a replacement for her, Fred Eilers, who is also her co-chair of the MLPA Public Safety Committee. And Fred has enthusiastically joined our group, has attended a meeting with us to talk about 404 Festival last week. And we're very, very glad to have him. So in order to replace Phyllis, we do need a motion to confirm him. Is there, could someone make that motion, please?
I make the motion for Fred to be the co-chair of safety.
I'll second it.
And the second is David.
I would have to move out if I didn't.
No, I said it.
Oh, darn.
Okay, are there any objections to confirming Fred as our public safety co-chair? I don't see any, so it carries without objection. Okay. Katie DeWeese, are you still with us?
I am still with you.
Okay. You are the zoning chair as well as the APAP chair. Do you have a report?
I think that we've already done our zoning stuff, and I'm going to condense my report into just telling you that the city is launching an NPU study. There's a proposal to shift towards census-based statistical areas, which is something that we pushed back on and had our own discussion about it. People were concerned that that would dilute the neighborhood-based representation, which is important in places like our neighborhood, where the identity is and land use patterns are really specific. That's it.
Okay, and I did talk to Leah yesterday about the project. She said that we're starting the public engagement component soon, May or June-ish. So we'll learn more about it, or they're getting feedback on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will post my notes in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. And then I've got two other quick reports. The first, and this is good news, NPU F was awarded $6,000 from the Department of City Planning's Community Impact Grant for 4 projects. All of the projects that were awarded were funded as requested, which is all a very good thing. The 4 projects were the North Highland Pedestrian Safety Flag Initiative, and that's in Virginia Highland and Morningside, to have safety flags for pedestrians to use when they're crossing the street so people can see them. The Leonard Martin Manor Community Garden tree plantings in their community garden. North Highland Park and Virginia Highland signage, and the Gotham Way Park hardscape, softscape improvements. One project that we had submitted was not approved, and that was the Smith Park project to replace plantings that were destroyed by the Parks Department or Public Works, one or the other, I can't remember which. The city planning, Leah made a recommendation to talk to Park Pride about getting those funds. I had mentioned previously that planning is stepping away from funding projects in city parks, and apparently the Department of Parks and Recreation is also stepping away. So for those private parks, I think we still have an opportunity for funds in future years, but not so much the city parks. And then finally, there's a kickoff meeting for project managers on May 6th, 7th, and May 9th. We should be getting an email soon on how to register for those sessions. They're 1 hour each, and they will be held on Zoom. And I'm encouraging the individual project managers to participate in those, just in case I'm not available to do the closeout by myself at the end of the year. And then for the chair report, a couple items. First, we really do need a vice chair. I need some backup on some of these meetings. I'm not saying that I won't be here, but just in case I can't be here, it would be nice to know that there's someone that is available to step in. Next, we do need to do a bylaws review for 2026. I've asked last month for volunteers, and Katie has volunteered. That means we have 2 people. I would like at least another 2 or maybe 1 more to look at the bylaw changes for this year. We need to do some tweaking, not major overhaul. So I don't expect this will require a whole lot of time, but we do need to do it. And our bylaws need to be approved by September. So we've got some time, but it's always good to start ahead while we can. And then finally, you heard when Chief Schierbaum was here that there was a meeting hosted by the mayor's office at City Hall. Actually, two meetings were hosted. The first was to provide an update to neighborhood leaders about the Piedmont Park shooting. It was incredibly well attended by Chief Schierbaum and two of his deputy chiefs. The Midtown, Ansley Park, Morningside, Virginia Highland neighborhoods sent representatives, as well as Midtown Alliance. Alex Wan was there as well. Chief Schierbaum said that their first priority is to locate the shooters. They also discussed their safety plans for the Dogwood Festival. I think the meeting was very productive. Felt reassured that APD is doing everything they can to keep the festivals and neighbors safe. And one thing he said that they did that we didn't hear today, but I wanted to share, was that every Tuesday and Thursday, APD leadership talks about all of the festivals and festival activity and assembly activity in Piedmont Park. They make recommendations on how to staff those events. They may move things around. They may, given their reports from social media, make recommendations and increasing the amount of staffing, both city officers and off-duty officers and other representatives from other jurisdictions like state police, DeKalb police, etc. And then the second meeting that was also hosted by the mayor's office was it was the Office of Nightlife to discuss issues on Cheshire Bridge, primarily at the north end. This was a very quickly assembled meeting, but there were some good representatives from Cheshire Bridge Road Condo, HOAs, the Pie High Alliance, Lyndon Martin Manor. Thank you for coming on very, very short notice. City reps from APD, the Atlanta Fire Planning Buildings were also present. The neighbors shared some very, very good examples of issues with noise, falsified SAPs, trash, parking and traffic, and code enforcement. I'm a little less optimistic that there'll be changes, but we definitely were heard at the meeting. So that is my chair report. We have no unfinished business. If there's any new business to come before the NPU, please raise your hand. I don't see any, so we're going to move for adjournment. Is anyone, would someone like to make a motion to
I
adjourn?
move to adjourn. Tom?
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Me.
Katie? All righty. I'm going, Dion, I see your hands raised. Are you slowing us down? Dion? Hello? You're on mute if you're speaking.
I'm talking, but you can't hear me.
Right.
Someone's muted me.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't able to raise my hand. Yeah, so I'm on the Howard Go team, local school governance team, and I am the Midtown cluster chair. And I know, Tom, it's late and I apologize, but you guys need to know the East Floss 300-seat edition is coming. They're looking for an architectural firm right now for the design plan, which will happen over the next 60 days. And that plan includes a multi-deck parking garage on 10th Street. So I don't want to hear that I haven't shared this information with you. There's a lot of concerns in the community regarding what that's going to do. We are the smallest high school property and smallest acreage, and the numbers we're hitting over 1,700 this year are the numbers they projected for us for enrollment in 2030. And with all the projects going from Amsterdam all the way down to Howard with Boulevard next, it's highly concerning that this is not going to solve the problem. and maybe we should go in a different direction. So please get involved. There are very few engagement opportunities, if any. So
Where would they put it? Where would they put this multi-story parking
in the
deck?
two design plans right now, the parking deck is where the tennis courts are, right across the street from the park. So do you know where the entrance to car line is that sits between the basketball gymnasium and the stadium on 10th Street?
Sort of, yeah.
You know where that arch used to be that you could go in? So between the stadium and more or less the school, which is the basketball court right there, there's a little parking lot. So the parking deck would go right there. So it's in between Monroe and Charles Allen on 10th Street.
Oh,
And
Lord.
then they're going to do an addition. In the current design is one option is on the Charles Allen corner and the other option is in the heart of the school.
Oh, Lord.
So again, we've known this. I put a document in the chat. I hope it's included in the meeting minutes. We've been dealing this for, a half a century, more or less, even longer than that. This does not solve the problem of the area being overcrowded. And so real discussions need to happen of, if this addition is not going to solve the problem, then we need to think about other things. It is going to provide more congestion, though, on Monroe and 10th Street if they add a parking deck and another 300 seats, because they will be able to expand even more. But we are the lowest funded school. And we have the smallest acreage. As many of you know, Henderson is not midtowns. So as you know, with any event, we always have football games and soccer events that aren't ours at Henderson. So
Do you know when the school board's going to take action on this?
So they already took action. They took a vote in November and December for a plan. Now they have put out an RFP for architects, and they have confirmed a list of architects that they are doing. They've spent about 30 million, I believe, several eSPLOS projects, because this is the next round of eSPLOS projects, which will be on the ballot in November. And they know that we are overutilized and have been for years. And they did not want to talk about redistricting. And the only option that they presented to the community was a 300-seat addition with a parking deck. And they moved the tennis courts into the stadium. So this is the same route we went down with Inman, and with community input that then changed, and then Howard was renovated. So anything can change, but I would highly recommend the community. Marla gave me a chance to talk about this back in the fall. I tried to raise the flag. It's not a done deal, but people need to start asking questions because it's not going to solve a problem. And that's people like myself who've been involved for over a decade. It's very concerning.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So I'll look for the document, and if I can't find it in the chat, as I said, it is pretty flooded. I'll send you an email.
And I'm happy to answer any questions from what I know and provide resources. I'm a big data share. So I usually always, Marla knows, I will always give you resources, meetings, recordings, that kind of thing.
Right. And I've had the benefit of your emails. Okay. So we did have a motion while Dion was getting her hand up to adjourn the meeting. It was made properly seconded. I'm assuming there's no objections to it. If you are in favor of adjourning the meeting, just hang up.
Thank you, Debbie.
And don't forget, you can
That's hilarious.
You can save the chat by clicking on the three dots on the in the chat window. If you can't find the three dots, send me an email. Don't put anything in the chat because I'll never find it.
Good night, NPU F. Good night, Debbie. Great meeting, as always. Good night, Katie.
Good night. Bye,
Good night,
Leah.
all of y'all. Bye.
Good night, Debbie.
I'm
I
not
think
sure
we need
this-
to consult our parliamentarian on the adjourning the meeting vote. I'm not sure that
Oh,
was
no, I don't know.
proper, Ms. Chair.
We should have gone back. Can we do
Hang
it
up
the
if you're in favor. Have a good night.
Sorry. It's important though.
I changed it to say 10:48 instead of what it was before.
Okay. Apple says it's 10:49, but whatever you've got is.
I can change it to 9.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm going to bed.
And so am I. Although my baby kitty is celebrating her 2nd birthday today, so I promised her churros.
Oh.
And she's been trying to break into the Chewy box to get the Temptations. So we have a little party.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I saved the chat. Where does it save it to?
It saves it to your hard drive.
Okay.
And if you do a find or search, whatever your laptop is, for chat or Zoom, it should show up there.
Ah, okay, found it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking for.
If you can send me a copy of your agenda, the one you usually send me that's got your notes on it. So I can
Yeah, I will. I'm sorry. I was working on it right up until 6 o'clock today.
Oh, no, that's fine. 'Cause I'm not gonna, I'll work on this when you send me the transcript.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank
okay. I wish I could have seen your cat. It was funny.
Oh.
Love watching him. All right, I gotta go.
Crystal today. I'm gonna.
Excuse me, I don't have 3 dots.
Okay. Do you have your chat window open?
The chat window is open.
Okay.
Oh wait, maybe this will work. Hang on. I did that. That sends it. Let me see if I can send it. Looks like that would save it, but
On my, I have an Apple, so and I know other computers look different.
I'm on a Mac.
Oh, okay. So at the top of the chat window, it says NPU F General Body Meeting.
Let me go all the way back up to the top.
Well,
yeah,
that's it. And then there are 3 dots on the right-hand side.
nope, not on mine. I have it in the. Oh, let me try something. Can I? Yeah, I just have an X. It says meeting chat up to the upper. Oh wait, let's see. That says new Chrome available. No, that wouldn't be it. That's outside of it. It's just not.
And I may be seeing something a little bit different because I was the host for the meeting. Oh.
I have an X where I can close it, or what appears to be like a circle with an arrow, which would send it, but I don't know what that does.
I have the X and I had that square with the arrow, but next to that are